My mother-in-law crashed my husband and I's vacation. I'm leaving.
That's so icky.
You can't be here, mother-in-law.
This is for us to
This is only the cool kids.
up. We're linking.
A friend referred to me to you after I told her all about my issues. To us? Thanks.
We're doctors.
Pertinent
Thank you.
info. My dear husband has a weird relationship with his mother. She's very over the top when it comes to him, and she calls him a special baby.
My special baby.
My special baby. He has 3 older siblings. He is the baby as well, who are all very low contact with his mother. I wonder why. By the way, this comes from Respect Twit, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, they only spend occasional holidays with her for no more than 3 hours. My dear husband spends every holiday with her, the entire day, including small ones like Columbus Day.
I wonder if he's clearly the baby, but I wonder if maybe he also feels responsible for maintaining her sanity.
Maybe, because no one else will spend time with her. They do something historical and eat historical food, and it's just weird because it's always just the 2 of them.
That actually sounds kind of sweet.
Wait, on Columbus Day, they're just eating
It's weird.
What?
They're just eating just boiled foods.
I could only think of corn. I couldn't think of any other
They
historical
don't even have
food.
corn.
Well, if they're doing Columbus Day,
They're eating whatever was on the Mayflower.
They're eating flour.
They're eating hardtack and limes.
all the real ones hate Columbus, though.
Yeah, he was not a good guy.
He did a lot of bad stuff to manatees and llamas. He has scaled back on these since we have been married 6 months, together 3.5 years, but he said that there must be room in his life for all the women, and to be clear, also Indigenous people.
I was going to say, it feels like there was something
sorry,
left out there.
Sorry, also the big one. I'm just mean he brought syphilis because he was having spicy sleep with the manatees and llamas.
Sophia said, I'm an animal lover.
No.
Not to his degree.
The Community clip where it's like, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
Just did.
Clip it.
No, to be
Clip
clear,
it, take it out of context, and clip it.
He brought syphilis to Indigenous people via... Never mind.
Completely on accident.
My mother is essentially a saint who has her own JN mother-in-law. What?
Just no, I guess. I think that's what that JN stands for. Where you just have to be like,
it's
no.
the subreddit.
You just say no, yeah.
That she has accommodated her entire life, so she has told me to just put up with it. It'll make me a better wife, mother, person to put up with someone like this. And I have. I have shared all the special days that one would do with a partner because he cannot bear to leave his mother alone. That means birthdays, holidays, days off, special outings, etc. But guys, I'm at my breaking point. The story of our engagement pictures, engagement party, all wedding events, and moving into our first home is a book I could write. But right now, I'm seething. My dear husband and I are in a coastal East Coast city for a 3-week-long business trip. I have a job that allows me to work remotely, so I am here the entire time. I was grateful for it. We needed a recharge away from home. We got here Thursday. He has managed to take 4 days off, giving us 6 days just to ourselves. But this starts next week. This week, I am on my own during the days. Last night, his mother showed up to stay in the VRBO with us. Yikes.
Like a ghoul in the night.
Yikes. Oh my God.
She makes me sick.
Truly.
The room next to us with a shared shutter door between them. There is no privacy. I don't know what to do. I have found that everything we have planned for this week includes her. He is telling me that this was a surprise, a chance for us all to bond, as she feels that since we have been married, they have drifted apart. I would be like, dude, we've been bonding since day 1. She has been to all of our vacations and all of our Valentine's days. We need to bond less. We need to unbond.
Also, bond for a amount of time that is appropriate.
Yeah. Too much bonding.
Yeah, that's way too much.
You know what?
Go to a baseball game.
Yeah. We need to learn how to unlink because this is too much. Honestly, you have a husband problem because he is too attached to his mother.
Yeah.
And it's weird. She doesn't know me enough, honestly, and feels like we should be best friends since we share the same favorite guy.
Oh! When you say it like that, it sounds like you want to date your son! Don't say that!
I don't know what to do. I'm livid. I have tried to stay locked in the room, but she can come in through the other door. Barricade the door. Barricade it. He can as well, but she's here all day while he's off being businessman of the year, telling me to stop whining. This whole trip is free. She's not bothering anyone. And my favorite of all, fuck it up, Buttercup.
She's literally bothering OP.
She's literally bothering. Wait, I think real quick, you need to just get out of the house. Like spend all of your time. I don't know where you are, but presumably it's somewhere you can like explore, do a couple stuff. I don't know.
Go on a walk.
Go on a walk. Go on a walk all day.
Go on a quiet sojourn by yourself.
Go find an aquarium. Spend all of your time in an aquarium. Go to a coffee shop. I don't know. Do you have a book? Buy a book. Go to a bookstore. Buy a book. Go to a coffee shop. Spend all the day.
I know what Sophia wants to do.
I want to go to a bookstore.
I love the aquarium.
Sounds like you want to go on a date. Like go to the bookstore.
Yeah,
go
a
to the
solo
aquarium.
date.
Can we just like chill? Can we just hang out and go to the aquarium?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do that.
Let's go to the aquarium.
Should we do that in Long Beach?
Yes. Today she has been trying to talk to me all day, telling me that she doesn't think I'm as attentive of a wife as I should be. Some things she has been talking to herself or some on the phone about today since I won't talk to her. She didn't even lay his clothes out. She's doing nothing but could do that. There are crumbs all over this counter. Who lives like this? She's holed up in there like some kind of mouse, acting like a child. I'm sorry, wait, she's talking to herself? She's like,
She didn't even lay her clothes out.
No, you know what she's doing?
She's doing nothing but to do that. Ow! There's crumbs all over the counter. Who lives like this? Ow! Ow!
Yeah, she's doing the voice to text. She's texting her son like,
Your wife is leaving crumbs everywhere like some kind of little
rodent.
creature.
it's disgusting.
the insects are coming.
I'm not. I'm working. I would rather work on the gorgeous balcony overlooking the water, but she has commandeered it all. There is no room or peace or quiet. I just called dear husband to ask him to have her go to a hotel. His response again was, stop being difficult. She's not harming anyone. You have a husband problem. You don't have a mother-in-law problem. You have a husband problem. Your husband doesn't care about the boundaries that your mother-in-law is crossing, and he is actively allowing her to invade your married life.
It's a 2-for-1 though.
Combo.
You need marriage counseling.
Yeah. He might need just individual counseling too.
He needs counseling.
They both do.
He is that little boy in Game of Thrones that's still like breastfeeding with his mom. That's him.
Oh no!
Send the Ravens.
Oh, he's little Robin.
That's him.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh,
gonna
God.
fall out of a freaking
Hole in the sky?
Hole in the sky. Is that what happens to him? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you
want
can
the
say
tiny
that.
man to fall.
Make the bad man fly.
No, she's not. But her presence is offensive. Her passive-aggressive comments are annoying, and I want to leave. I have no car. I would have to take an Uber or Lyft or rent a car, I guess. I would have to do this all without telling my husband, possibly starting a huge fight. Or the next time she goes to empty the trash, apparently we have been here and created such a mess already that it has taken 3 trips to the can already. Just lock her out. I just don't think my headphones are soundproof enough. Dear husband won't be back until 6 p.m., 2 long hours from now. We had dinner plans, but I know she is coming with. She is ruining this. Help. He doesn't realize how weird his mother is. She saves everything he gives her. She made a Snapple lid into a pendant from a drink he bought her at a gas station because the message
that's so
meant
weird.
something to her and how
Oh.
weird their relationship is.
Okay,
Would be cute.
If it was
Would
a
be
kid.
cute if it wasn't them.
that's sweet though. Like,
It
let's
would
be
be
real.
like
In
a
a
kid.
vacuum, that's really
yeah, in
sweet.
a vacuum, really sweet. In this world, I hate them.
The problem is that there's no boundaries and there's
None.
no separation, and it really feels
0.
like, because my theory is that because all the other siblings want nothing to do with her,
Yeah.
that he has taken it upon himself to be like the number one son. Plus, he's also the baby, so it's easier.
Well, he's also probably spent the most time as an only child, quote unquote.
Right? Yeah.
And
He's
you
just
kind
so
of
used to it.
Yeah, you either develop the kind of contentious relationship in that, or you're all of like the affection and stuff is isolated on him, which it seems like that's the case here.
It's I maintain the love, decrease the amount of time y'all are constantly together.
Yeah. Before we get into the rest of this, because there's a lot left. There's a whole story here. I think you either just leave, like you go to a coffee shop, go on a walk, call an Uber, something. Get out of this house. And then later on, you can have that conversation one-on-one with your husband where you say, hey, no, don't just like brush over this. This is a problem.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Comfortable this is making me or doesn't care. What do I do? Do I just pack and go? My friend told me to dip, but what does that mean for my marriage? This isn't the first time she's been like this. At 16:45, just booked a houseboat for 2 nights nearby. A houseboat, fun. Not telling dear husband or mother-in-law where. I am going to the condo to pack a bag and taking a car over there. He texted me that he told his mom to go hang out at the beach for a few hours while I needed time to cool down, and he would talk to me when he got back in a few hours. I'm going anyways. If he wants to talk, I will meet him on neutral ground without her there. Probably planning on returning home if she's going to stay. Found out she's to be here 2 weeks, giving us 1 week of him working to be together. We are not a throuple, is what I texted him. Dang.
Boom.
Dang.
Boom.
That was a great response. And there is an update. Man, you got a problem.
You've said it.
Yeah.
We're not a throuple.
And he doesn't care. Even when he was trying to, like, do what you asked, he still blamed it on you. He was like, oh, I'm going to give her a moment to cool down, as if it's your fault, when it's really his mother's fault. And he's just kind of like caring about only his mom's feelings and not yours.
He's probably just been conditioned to where it's like there's nothing he can do about this,
Yeah.
and this is what he has to do. So now it's like, well, what do you mean you don't like this? We have to do this.
Yeah, he's like, this is just
But-
how parents are.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Once you have a wife, it's like,
And he probably calls her like mommy. He's like, mommy.
I freaking hope
Mama.
not. Dear God.
Gross. Caitlin Von Comet says she probably doesn't have any of her other kids either. I always thought that was so strange. Like, why? I'm not a mother though, so maybe I'll get it eventually. And Bumblebee says, this is wild. How does he not know how weird this is? And someone earlier says she probably has like all of his baby teeth, which again, in a vacuum, could be okay.
My mom has all of my baby teeth.
I think that, yeah, I think my mom has my baby teeth somewhere.
in like a
In like a
little
jar.
angel baby.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No, my friend
love you, Mom.
my friend just made artwork with her baby teeth.
That's
And
wild.
She sent it to me and my other friend. And she said it, and I saw it from a distance, and I was like, "Oh, that's beautiful." And then my friend went, "Are those your baby teeth?" And I looked at it again. And I was like, "What?"
I feel like you have only one lane for making art out of your own baby teeth, and it needs to be a little disturbing.
No, it really
needs to
was.
be kind of weird and disturbing looking.
It was, and I loved it. It honestly was great. It was great. And also, Purple Trader, thank you for the $25. Coda, are you feeling better?
Yes, it was just a mysterious set of circumstances that hit me yesterday. And hey, also Purple Trader, we saw you donate $50 before the stream even started. You absolute madman.
Absolute madman.
Let everybody put the devils in the chat for Purple
Did you
Trader.
just donate $50? Is that what you just said?
That was before the stream
That
started.
was
I think you said
pre-stream.
15. Jeez Louise. But there is an update. So we're going to dive right into it. Hi, everyone. I am writing this from my Airbnb as I sip coffee and work on some work stuff. OP sounds so much calmer in just that one sentence.
Yeah, so did she get her own Airbnb?
Yeah, I think she got
let's
her.
go.
I think she got her like boat on the river. I don't know where they are. I'm imagining they're in London. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense because they're by the beach.
Cardiff.
Sure. I wasn't planning on writing a follow-up. In all honesty, I got a lot of great advice and realized my problem is both a mother-in-law and somewhat a significant other problem, at least at the time and when she's involved. Thank you to everyone. My 2 friends I was telling this to were so shocked and out of their league that they had no idea what to even recommend. You were all heaven sent. Thank you again. I read a lot of threads last night. Some suggested, and many on the sub, I have really downplayed the audacity of my mother-in-law. For instance, did you know, I know you didn't, but whatever, that she opted to throw me her own bridal shower? My mother and maid of honor both planned a big joint one that literally was a circus. It was wonderful. We were showered with so many gifts, and everyone we wanted there was there, including mother-in-law, but she had to have her own. She wanted a high tea themed one. I don't even drink or like tea. I would love that.
That is the wildest, though, to demand
Yeah,
your
that you
own
throw
thing and make it the
about
theme
you.
of high tea.
Yeah. I hate the energy. Love the theme. Love the theme. I would love
I bet
that.
you have a pair of long white gloves.
I don't, but I should.
You
I should.
were so disappointed when you you're like, I
Damn.
don't,
You know
and I
what?
feel called out.
You know what? I actually probably do somewhere at my parents' house because when I graduated from Louisville, which is a Catholic all-girls school,
Oh,
we had
yeah,
to,
your
we
wedding
had to wear
dress.
all white. Yeah,
Your wedding
we
dress.
looked like we were brides. It was
Yep.
very strange.
They're
It's a
giving
running
you away
joke.
to the world.
Truly.
Literally, it's their wedding dress.
Yeah, we're all in wedding dresses. What sandwiches do I not like? I don't like cucumber or tuna. Oh, I love cucumber sandwich. What about pastries? I think this is for me. I prefer danishes and cinnamon rolls to bagels and muffins, etc. I thought she was being sweet and trying to work with me. The day of the party, it was tea themed, like Alice in Wonderland, juvenile tea themed, not even a mature classy theme. Okay, wait, that bummer. And the food was mini tuna sandwiches, mini cucumber sandwiches, muffins, bagels, and some other various food. She literally got everything I said I did not want.
Well, it's not like the party's for you.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
wait.
for her.
Oh, wait.
On top of that, she had a mother of the groom sash made. Wore that, but conveniently forgot my bride-to-be one she had made for me. Huge eye roll. Anyway, I last left you all when I was going to go pack a bag and maybe meet up with dear husband later to try and discuss this. She is not as involved in our lives as I think I painted it. He keeps a pretty good distance, but when she's in, she sticks her hooks in until he finally shakes her off. I think even if she's not there every day, it still sounds like she's pretty involved. Like, I don't know. This is more involved than most mother-in-laws are. And that's
like
the weird thing.
involved, but then like kind of trying to low key like disclude the
Yes.
OP,
Yeah.
the wife.
She's like, get out.
being like, no.
I get to the room and mother-in-law is sitting at the table in the dark. Now, it's still daylight, but not enough light to justify sitting with no lights on. She's fumbling and fidgeting with a tissue, red face, and just upset. She just looks at me and says,
Why are you trying to destroy our family?
now, you all helped me find a spine yesterday. I normally would have placated her and reasoned with her, but when I heard R, I lost it. I told her that dear husband and I are my family. We are a part of her family, but we are not a family unit, the three of us. She told me that dear husband called to tell her it's best that she goes home. This has gotten out of control and I'm planning on leaving him. He won't let that happen. I didn't know this, but had a smirk on my face when she said that. The smirk just pissed her off. Wait. What? Wait. This has gotten... Okay, hold on.
You're
She
gonna
told
leave
me
him
that
now?
Dear husband called to tell her it's best that she goes home. This has gotten out of control and I'm planning on leaving him. He won't let that happen. I didn't know this, but had a smirk on my face when she said that. Okay, so I'm confused exactly. Did he tell his mom that OP was planning on leaving him?
I'm not sure. I think she told the mom that now she's going to leave him. And then the mom was like, well, he won't let you. And then she was just like,
Oh, okay. I think what may have happened is that the husband was talking to his mom and was like, she's planning on like getting an Airbnb and leaving this
oh,
trip.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it sounds
Leaving
like.
him
maybe.
there.
Yeah, and then he was like, I'm not going to let that happen, so you have to leave. And so OP was saying that she had a smirk when the mother-in-law was talking about it.
Gotcha.
Got it. She told me how happy I was that I won and she would go home, but everyone would know how I treated my mother. I corrected her. She is not my mother. She then said, thank God. I told her to let dear husband know that I was still leaving until she was officially gone. I packed a small bag and she sobbed uncontrollably on the couch, wailing on the phone to someone about how I am about to destroy her family. It's just another voice note.
Just another performance is what that is.
I called dear husband from the Uber and filled him in. He sounded exhausted, said he was on his way back and that he decided she needed to go. He apologized profusely, saying she has been harassing him nonstop today and he was on edge as well. She wanted him to take this week off too. I told him I was still going away, at least for the night, and we could talk more tomorrow today regarding us. Right now, I need a break until she is gone. He was understanding. I mean, I don't like him because of how he's dealt with this situation, but it's kind of a bummer that he's supposed to be working and
He's got.
I mean, this is a problem that he caused, kind of, but
He's got to work on his mom.
I told him about this post and forwarded it to him. He responded with a single text, Jesus. And I told him we could talk more today. Other than that, we haven't spoken yet. This morning, I woke up to 14 new voicemails, all from mother-in-law. In them, she is talking in rushed, muted voices, so I am assuming, well, dear husband is asleep, and she's trying to hide it from him. She's letting me know that she is going to remember this. Look at what she has done to our other daughter-in-laws, that they have no family now because of what they did to her. What? And that I'm on this path. Don't I for a second think that dear husband won't choose his only mother over someone replaceable. As she delightfully said, once you have had one C word, any will do in the end.
Wow.
Damn, girl.
Maybe a little bit of projection there, huh?
Damn, girl. Why does
Also-
she sound like she's in Game of Thrones?
I'm starting to see why the rest of the children don't have anything to do with her, because it sounds like she destroyed their partner's families.
It sounds like
She pulled the reins of Castamere on her own
Literally
in-laws.
sounds like we're in Game of Thrones right now. So thanks for that, mother-in-law. Cannot wait to have dear husband listen to this once I speak to him later. Girl, you left a voicemail. You left proof.
I would leave I would be just so nice, like fake nice.
Yeah, I'd be like, thank you for letting me know.
I'd be like, you're so sweet to let me know. Such a personal and private thing.
Yeah, you do like the,
sound
thank you for letting me
beautiful.
know. Please call back at this number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I plan on tentatively speaking with dear husband later. Not sure what will happen. But I have researched relationship therapists back home and plan on making that a non-negotiable. Cross your fingers and toes for me, though, regarding mother-in-law. Edit 1011. Dear husband contacted me. Let me know she is now booked on a one-way nonstop flight home at 6 p.m. He has arranged for a car service as well, so he will not be seeing her. Told me to email his work email as he is turning his personal phone off, as she will not leave him alone. We agreed to meet in public when he is done at a cafe. He will text me to confirm she is gone. 12:22 Eastern Standard Time, or EDT, I don't effing know, but the property we are renting for the entirety of our stay called me. Mother-in-law, I have no idea what to call her, maybe Cup of Crazy, called them, wants me banned from the property and a whole bunch of stuff. She's not registered with them, all renters' guests must be registered with management, and asked if I would like her removed. I told them yes, she should be getting escorted off property soon. It's petty AF, but I don't want her near my stuff any longer than she needs to be. Email dear husband, he told me do what you need to do, but I'm not ready to handle her. So that wasn't super helpful, but baby steps. And there is a second update. Do what you need to do, but I'm not ready to handle her. She's your problem, my guy.
She's your mom, dude.
She's literally your mom.
Do what
handle
you need
her.
to do is crazy.
Is he scared of his mom?
He absolutely is. This man is a coward.
I mean, when your mom is Tywin Lannister,
Yeah.
but like a crybaby, it's probably pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Bro, she's Cersei, literally.
What do you mean? No, she's not cunning enough to be Cersei.
Oh, she's end of Game of Thrones.
She's
Cersei.
what's the little
She's just
the
nonsense.
little
Yeah,
little
literally,
annoying
literally.
boy?
She's poorly written Cersei.
Yeah.
Who's the annoying boy that gets poisoned?
Joffrey.
Joffrey. She's Joffrey. She's Joffrey, but your mother.
Yeah. Yes.
But there's an update. I'm kind of worried for your marriage. Gotta be honest.
I mean, hey, maybe it's like he's Jaime Lannister, you know? He's like hot, talented.
Oh, so he's gonna have a redemption arc.
Well, yeah, you know. But like, maybe
And then
not.
they really flop it in the end there.
I never watched. I only
Really,
watched
yeah.
the season 5, and he was doing. I am actually.
What?
Yeah.
Girl,
That's a
it
good
gets,
place
it gets
to-
so good.
Yeah,
and
maybe
then it
he
gets
has-
really bad.
Oh. Maybe he has
yeah.
some sort of. He has some sort of. I forgot his name already.
Jaime
Joffrey?
Lannister.
Jaime Lannister
Oh.
type arc,
Jaime-
and then he
Jaime
fumbles at the
Lannister?
end, and then you have to divorce him.
Yeah, shout out to Jaime Lannister.
It would suck to have to divorce somebody because of their mom. That'd
Yeah,
suck.
but the thing is that I don't think she would be divorcing him for his mom. She would be divorcing him for how he is a coward.
I mean, yeah.
It's
that's-
like he's
But
the
it's
problem.
like the root catalyst of all of this is the mom.
Because I think if you have a crazy mom, but you're like, hey, boundaries, or like, oh yeah, my mom's crazy, then you can kind of be chill. But
At
if you have a
least
crazy
just
mom
an
and you're like,
acknowledgement.
no, but she's my mommy, then it's not great. But let's get into the second update. She made it on the plane and is gone. Dear husband asked for her to provide proof that she was on the plane, and she sent him a selfie, which he then forwarded to me. And it's like a really poorly photoshopped selfie of her, like with the plane, a blurry plane in the background, but it's got like the copyright mark on it.
Yeah, you can
The
see like
watermark.
the white and gray squares because there's no actual background. It's just her in front of a JPEG of a plane.
It was enough for me to believe that Cuppa had returned home. So I agreed to meet with dear husband. We went to a nice restaurant in turn and talked. He feels feels awful for his mother's behavior. Turns out she invited herself along and convinced him that I would want this. He said it started 2 months ago when he told her he had to go on the trip, and he told her about her plans. She kept dropping hints about how she would love to see this area, how she loves historical homes, how beautiful it is, etc. Then she escalated to asking what I would be doing with my days while he was at work. She told him I would be bored, that I would be lonely, and maybe I would resent him. She even suggested that I bring a friend. But he said that wouldn't work, since no one would be able to take that amount of time off. Then she suggested that she come instead to give us time to bond more. He fell for it and thought it was a great idea. He said now he sees that she manipulated him again.
Oh, poor guy.
This guy's
Poor guy doesn't even know. He doesn't even know he's been getting got his whole life.
But like this man, she's like pointing at the ceiling, and she's like, "Look what's up there!" And he looks up. It's freaking gullible. This man's stupid.
I mean, I think he's been classically trained here.
He's been classically trained to be stupid, but he's stupid.
It seems like he's waking up though.
Yeah,
He's waking
seems
up.
Like he's waking
got
up.
one
He's
eye
like-
open now.
She's like, "Look, there's Gullibles written
And
on the
he's
ceiling."
like,
He's like,
"No.
no, it's not.
Nuh-uh.
I know your tricks."
But what is written on the ceiling? What? Dang it!
Dang it.
Nothing again. Dang
It is very reminiscent of how she treated him when he was planning his bachelor party. He's very sad and depressed about it. He begged me not to leave him, and I told him that counseling is mandatory at this point if we have any hope of surviving this.
Fair.
Very
totally
fair.
fair.
He told me he would think about it. Girly, there's nothing to think about.
What do you mean he'd think about it? She just
Girly.
told you.
She said it's
you
mandatory.
Need it.
You're either divorcing or you're going to therapy.
It's like, well, I'll think about it. I have another option lined up. It's my mom.
I agreed to return to the condo tonight, but he will be staying in the spare room until he comes to a decision regarding therapy. I considered going home, but then Cuppa Crazy went insane upon landing back home. Cuppa is a big Facebook fan. Shocking. Big. She's an oversharer and posts everything publicly. Upon landing, she made post after post about her poor son and his abusive wife. At this point, I had alerted dear husband's siblings. They're all like, "Praise the Lord, you're seeing the light now. We have to make dear husband come around." That would be so frustrating to be all the siblings and be like, "Mom is crazy. What don't you see?" And he's like, "No, mommy, that's my mommy."
It's like, she literally destroyed my partner's family.
No, not my mommy.
You burned my house to the ground.
My family.
My
What do
family,
I do?
My family, close friends, and dear husband's aunt, who is a rock star. She got lots of sympathy from her people. She made mention about possibly coming back, so we are on alert about that. She also called my mother to tell her that she needs to reel me in.
Oh my God.
I hope your mom was like, "You're crazy, lady."
Hi, reel in your adult daughter.
Reel her in.
Reel in the adult who makes their own decisions and lives their own life. Thank you.
Well, this is how she goes about the world. She thinks that you have this, like, a say over your adult children's lives. My mother told me that when she called, she already had a heads up. Cuppa said, "OP is out of line and is a controlling monster." My mother proceeded to tell her to F off. Nice. So apparently my mother has no spine when it comes to her mother-in-law, but mine, she's ready to mama bear and F her crap up. This angle is developing. Stay tuned. She texted dear husband late last night that she was considering coming back to save him from me. He told her that he does not need saving. He's an adult and he needs to figure out his marriage. She said, and I quote, "What is there to figure out? She's a vile person who hates your mother for no reason other than I love you with my whole heart. That is not who you should be married to, and we can find someone better for you who loves me like their own mother. She's the one who's out to ruin you, not me." This lady's crazy.
Truly
This lady's
unhinged.
crazy. This lady's
Ugh.
crazy.
Ugh.
He ignored that and told her to stay home. They could talk later. I'm letting him cool down and we can talk again tonight because I don't want to jeopardize his job. He has listened to the voicemails and he looks devastated but has not made excuses for them. He's also keeping up to date on my posts and reading all the comments. Voicemails are safe. They are backed up on my computer, Google Drive, and work email. All my screenshots are safe in the cloud. Property management gave me a report of her being removed from the property, so I have that record as well. And there is a third update. It keeps coming. Do you have any thoughts
I
before we
think-
jump in?
One thought would just be that it's like, get on the same page, same team with your partner,
Absolutely.
and then have a united front against this woman. You set a boundary. You say, this is what we're willing to discuss. This is what the kind of conversations we're willing to have. We don't want to cut you out of our lives entirely, right? You're his mother, you're my mother-in-law. But like, if you for 1 second begin to walk down like this path to like, you know, like talking about how I'm the worst or I'm taking your son, we're done talking to you for a week. All right. Well, then we'll reach back out later, or you can, but we will not be entertaining this behavior.
Yeah. I think honestly, OP needs to block the mother-in-law. The mom needs to block the mother-in-law. And all contact should be through the husband. Like, he needs to stand up and take care of his mom, because this OP should not have to deal with being harassed by this woman, because that is a lot to deal with. And he can decide, you know, well, actually, I agree. I think they have OP and her husband have to have a conversation about like what lower contact looks like. Not necessarily saying he never gets to see his mom, but like saying
it's just unrealistic.
You can't see her every freaking holiday. Some of those holidays are for us.
When you're literally married to somebody.
Yeah.
That, come on.
Jan Digital says, I don't feel confident that the husband is 100% on board, though. I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that he said, I'll think about therapy, not a great start. And Durred says, I kind of feel that we're dunking too hard on the husband. He is the victim of emotional abuse. He's dealt with this all of his life. It takes a lot to overcome being programmed by a narcissist.
That is very true.
Absolutely. Yeah. But also, I think as OP, she doesn't deserve to have to like deal with a man who is so kind of seemingly trapped in this relationship with his mom and doesn't realize it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you just leave him for that.
Well, she's not. She's going to therapy, and he's
work.
not even. Yeah,
it's
work, and he has to. But he also has to realize that it's work. And right now, it doesn't seem that he realizes that.
Yeah, I hope one day people can just accept that they need help with things.
But there is an update. Cup of Crazy phone call update. I haven't been on Reddit really since my last update, so I am home. I decided not to stay in the coastal town with dear husband. He agreed to think about therapy, but after a day, we just could not stop bickering about everything except what we really wanted to fight about. Saturday, I sat him down and told him this had to stop. He said he was really torn. Kappa would not stop calling, texting, emailing, having others message him for her, and even smoke signaling him. It's tiring. He is not sure what to do anymore. I told him point blank that I could not deal with his mother. Kappa and I are not going to have a relationship going forward. I pressed him to remember his vows that he wrote and how he promised me I would always be his top priority. He led the next sentence with a but, and I didn't let him finish.
But my mommy gave birth to me.
I told him I was going home as soon as I could book a flight, and that was that. When he comes home, we can go to therapy and work on a relationship, or we don't have to. But that is his choice. He went on and on about how therapy won't work and how it's a waste and how we don't need it. I told him we do, especially if he thinks any of Kappa's behavior is acceptable. He proceeded to explain she has intense emotions, and I ended it. This is so freaking frustrating. It's like he just doesn't realize. And there's only so much that OP can do.
Yeah.
Only so much. Booked a flight and went. He has been in panic mode and has sent me listings of several therapists. I am not going to believe it until it happens, though. Enough about dear husband and him being an idiot, though. Back to Kappa. As many predicted, she continues to escalate. She has called my mom repeatedly. Your mom needs to block this woman. Block her. She has told my mother her side of the story, to the point where my mother is trying to convince me to have a sit down with Kappa. No, just no. I mean, either your mother is being successfully gaslit, or she is so annoyed that Kappa keeps calling her that she's like, okay, please. Just talk to her. I can take it.
Don't make this my problem, please.
I have told her this to no end and have reiterated that no is a complete sentence. Now my mom is pretty JY? I don't know. But she has totally been her no mother-in-law's.
I think that's just yes.
Just yes.
My mom's been pretty cool.
She's been pretty, well, I think it's just like she says like, yeah, okay, fine, to whatever. But she has totally been her just no mother-in-law's victim for so many decades that she thinks I should put up with this. But I refuse. What did I do? I called Kappa. This has to stop. I'm home now. She dropped apology notes off while we were gone. My house sitter left 4 of them on our doorstep. That means she dropped 2 in one day at least once. That's crazy. The last note said, OP, my son is your husband. Your husband is my son. We must share not only his love, but his time, respect, and all of him. Gross. I don't like that. I hope you see that all I wanted was to share that with you. I'm sorry that you feel hurt, but that was never my intention to make you feel like I was trying to butt into your relationship. But I can't help that you feel that way. Love, Kappa. That wasn't an apology.
Yeah, that was like I'm sorry that you are wrong.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's not my problem.
Yes.
Seriously, worst apology ever. You're sorry I feel away, but not really because that wasn't your intended plan. Oh, sorry I ruined your creepy Game of Thrones thing you had planned or whatever. I freaking called.
We called it.
I freaking
We called it.
Huzzah!
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 But the call, it was short, but mostly because I hung up after she would not stop screeching in my ear. She was all sweet, love bombing me, and asked if I got her up. Did you get my apology letters? I actually snorted. Then she flipped her switch.
I like how you became Jennifer Coolidge right there.
I'm picturing her as Jennifer Coolidge, but in like in White Lotus.
No, she's awesome.
Did you get
I'm
my
just that
hot
voice.
dogs?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that. I love that character.
I've only seen like 5 episodes of the first season. Sorry. She accused me of being ungrateful and unappreciative. Did I know how hard it was for her to write those letters? She's like, I can't even read. I had to learn how to read. Especially when she just wanted to spend time with me. How dare I make her feel guilty for this? I told her that she was never invited on the trip. Dear husband shared this with me. She more or less steamrolled him, and she responded with, of course I'm invited. I'm his mother. I can go wherever my son is because I'm his mother. Just wait until you have kids. And you're not going to see those kids, really.
She's psycho.
Then I hung up. We aren't sure if we are having kids if we make it, but F her. She is not ever going to be in a delivery room, at a hospital visit, at a baby shower, or anything. Nope, that's a line. Ugh. I'm sure this will only get worse, so buckle up along with me. Short, funny story, I briefly touched on the wedding shower, and this is a tidbit that still makes me laugh. She had some dumb game, even though I explicitly stated no games, where we had to fill in facts about our SO that were obscure. She rigged the entire game so that all the cute things applied to dear husband. There were 20 questions. I had 3 that belonged to me only. They were, who has the worst gas? Who snores the loudest? And who's the biggest airhead?
My gas only gets bad when I eat hot dogs.
She just insulted you?
Yeah, that's...
Who's the biggest? Who's freaking stupid?
This is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, leave her out of all future events, plans, and activities.
She's done. She's done. There is a 4th update, though. It keeps going. We're gonna freaking dive right in.
Splash.
So we are on what is supposed to be week 3 of my husband's work trip. He cut it short and canceled the vacation portion of his trip. He returned to our home on Saturday. To put it short, dear husband is a mess. He has spent hours reading the comments on my posts, other posts in the sub, and who knows how many posts in the JNF family subs. He has agreed to therapy, finally.
Thank God. All it took was a bunch of strangers on the internet yelling him
therapy.
down. Yeah.
We have an appointment for Thursday evening after work. We intend to take a private, secret vacation with our extra time off next month. Any ideas where we should go for a tropical that won't fry my pale skin off? Colombia.
Ireland.
Antarctica.
It's not tropical, but it is an island.
And it won't fry your skin off?
You won't get much sun.
Iceland.
Iceland. Oh, I want to go to Iceland. But Kappa, oh Kappa, she has not gone quietly into the good night as I hoped, but as you all had predicted. After our last interaction, she was relentlessly harassing dear husband to the point where he had to block her number from his cell phone so that he could focus on work. Side note, business trip went splendid despite all of this. He is probably getting a great promotion soon. That's impressive. That's impressive that he managed to do that. Well, being harassed.
His mother clearly raised him right.
Yeah. Kappa has gone back to love bombing. She has sent me flowers, fruit baskets, and cookies to my home, my work, and sent my mother flowers. I got Amazon gift cards in my mail. Dear husband got Steam gift cards in his email. Each note said, I'm sorry, I love you both so much. Let's talk. What the heck is that apology, Kappa? Sorry you love us? No, you're sorry that you cannot control me and that dear husband is breaking free slowly but surely. Cross his fingers. She is spending hundreds of dollars on these, money I know she does not have. So I did some investigating. she has a credit card in dear husband's name that has thousands of dollars on it.
Hey, I got you this gift. I also got you the gift of ruining your credit by committing fraud against you.
I got you the gift of you have to pay for all of this. This is, I got you the gift of your money.
Yes, the last part of the gift is pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and paying for all this stuff.
I found this out on Thursday. I immediately called dear husband about it. We have excellent credit and carry some debt, but we will have it all paid off within a year. I asked about a secret big name bank credit card. He genuinely seemed shocked.
Yeah, as people are when they found out they've been defrauded by their mother.
Yes, but also like, don't you check your like bank account stuff?
I feel like your credit.
I check my credit a lot.
Oh, really? I check it maybe like twice a year.
I check it a fair amount.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? It's pretty. It should be pretty stable.
It is.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel good about myself.
You just keep looking
It's
at
like
it.
my report card.
Well, I guess it's like, you look at a sunrise more than once,
Yeah.
but it's a different sunrise.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's nice.
But anyway, that was
Yeah,
probably
it's still in
a
the
bad
green.
example.
I check my bank accounts. I make sure that no one's stealing
I check my
money.
bank accounts.
Yeah, I check it.
But
all.
I feel like he wouldn't have access to this account, so he wouldn't even know it exists.
Suspicious. He called the bank and it was open 4 years ago. It has a $15,000 limit and about a third is used. We were both blown away by this. Dear husband asked me to call her. He told me he knew he would cave, would let her make excuses, and then this would never get handled. He begged me to call her.
Wait, so he was saying, he's like, I know I'll be too incompetent to do anything.
I won't be, because if I call her, I'll just say yes. So can you talk to her, please? Can you call her, please?
Well, I guess at least he knows his weakness
I hate this man.
in a way, but like,
I hate this
dude,
man.
your mom's defrauding you. You should call her, confront her.
He told me he loves me. He picks me. I pick you, choose you. But he knows he cannot do this. I called Kappa again. I had a plan and I did record it. I gave her a disclaimer that I was saving a copy of the conversation. She responded with, whatever. I first thanked her. Dear God, it unalived me for the gifts. I told her that they were all very nice and thoughtful, but that they were not necessary, and that while the gifts were nice, they did not absolve her of any wrongdoing. There was no apology, and there is no change in her behavior. So thanks for the chocolate-covered strawberries, but they changed nothing. This obviously went well. She again called me ungrateful, told me that I am brainwashing her son, and that I cannot keep him from her. I calmly told her that he chose to cut her off, and that he needed to separate himself to focus on his work so that he could provide for his family, our pets, and myself. She scoffed at that. She then asked, why am I really calling? Because she can tell that this is not to apologize. I didn't acknowledge this, but ha 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 ha. Or accept her. I flat out asked her about the credit card. She froze, then sputtered out 4 million excuses.
Sounded like an old motorcycle starting up.
Dear husband, let me. Nope. He said he never okayed this. But he said, Mom, if you ever need help, I'm here for you. So you opened a credit card in his name? His credit went up. It has a credit tracker. You should really be thanking me. What the what? She went on to tell me it mostly was for emergencies, but with money tight recently, she's used it quite a bit. She plans on cashing out some stocks to pay it back this year, though. I told her that we canceled her card, paid off the account, RIP savings, and closed it. She can pay us back this year, and if she does not, then I'm suing her in a small claims court. She again started screeching about me messing with her family. I told her I was done. I had the conversation recorded, and I was giving her 6 months to pay us. If she didn't, we would go the legal route. She ended our conversation with the chillingest of tones, saying, F you, OP. I hung up. This is obviously not over. Dear husband is willing to fight for us. Kappa has leveled up her craziness, and we are meeting with dear husband's siblings this weekend to go over everything. I think it will be very eye-opening for him. Yeah, I think he needs to hear all of his siblings say, Mom's crazy.
Yeah, they need to get unified. They need to unionize.
Unionize. Edit. We are not going to the police at this moment. I wanted to. I think it's the final nail in her coffin. But dear husband is not ready for that. He's not ready for anything, man. This man's not ready for a single goddamn thing.
It's hard to prosecute your own mother.
It is, but I don't think he's even ready to say, hey, Mom, you can't steal my credit card information. I don't think he can do anything.
Honestly, I think he wants to, but he knows that if he said that and then she just was like, then he'd be like, okay, you're right.
Hey, Mama.
just like, and then he'd be like, click. Dang it! How did she do that?
How
Like,
did she do it? She got me again.
he just needs therapy.
Yes,
He needs therapy, and
intensive
he needs his siblings probably.
He needs his siblings, and he needs
probably help him a
intensive
lot.
therapy because I can't handle this. Can't handle this.
Mama's boy.
Mama's freaking boy. Go to therapy, man. Go to therapy. He is keeping his distance, not talking to her, but is feeling immense guilt for all of this. Pushing him to call the police on her may do more harm than good at this point. We are seeing his siblings and a therapist this week. If we share the story with them, it may be the final push he needs, but I am not going to force him to do this yet. It's not off the table, just in the parking lot for now. And there is another update. I think maybe the last. This man is so freaking lucky he has OP.
It's true.
So freaking lucky.
You found a real one, a ride or unalive.
Ride or freaking unalive, man.
He's got to be like the best because if my partner's mom was like this, I
Yeah.
don't know.
There's got to be something amazing about this man because she's Louise. You're
Maybe
putting up with
every
a
other
lot.
part of him is great.
Maybe he's
except
really hot.
couldn't say no to his mom.
Can say no to
The
his
hot
mom?
mama's boy. What was that Matthew McConaughey movie where he still lived at home?
I have no idea.
Failure to launch.
All right.
And hello, Danielle. Or Danielle, I don't know.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Thank you for joining our lives. But there is a last update.
And I think Susan Sarandon as well.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that was the last part of that bit. I just thought that
I
was
love
funny.
Susan
Just
Sarandon, though.
continually
Susan
saying
Sarandon?
the cast.
Actually, I think there's 6 more people that I have to mention.
Uh,
But there is a final update. Maybe penultimate. I'm not quite sure how many updates there's left.
penultimate great word.
I love that word. But anyway, I think that it seems like they're on the path of they're staying together. I don't think divorce is really on the table here, but I think he needs individual therapy. You absolutely both need marriage counseling, and you need to set up some strong boundaries. I honestly think
At this
he
point,
needs to
just
go-
cut off the mother-in-law.
I think you need to go like no contact with her because
Yeah,
she stole
it's
his credit card information.
Totally fine. She's committing crimes against him.
Yeah.
She's threatening you.
Yeah.
You want nothing to do with her,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't be forced to have anything to do with her for the sake of, what, appearances?
Exactly. And I also think that if he gets a little bit of contact with her, it's going to be like he's already told you he can't say no to his mom. So if you give him an inch, he's taken 5 miles.
And that's a product of, like, clearly an abusive
absolutely.
upbringing.
Absolutely. I'm just saying
and
that's
he needs the therapy. He said he'll
Yeah.
do the therapy now,
yes,
right?
which is good. I'm
so-
just saying that I don't think that low contact would work for him. I think that he
Oh,
needs
yeah.
to go no contact because I think that if he spends any time around his mom, he'll just revert back.
At least until therapy.
Yeah. Yes.
Until some form of progress
Yeah.
is made and he's able to be like,
Yeah. Because
this
right
is
now,
what I think. These
any
are my
more low
boundaries.
contact doesn't work.
And then when she goes, blah, 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 he can go, you know what? I already told you.
You know what, Mom?
So
I've
I'm
done
leaving.
the work because she's done a number. But there is an update, so we're gonna get into it.
Did a whole.
Huh? What he said?
I was trying to think of a play. What was that? Was it Annie? What's that? Never mind. A musical number she did because she played him. There's a huge smudge on these now. I can't see.
Being wicked.
Update 5. I'm gonna update you on the last 2 months. Kappa mailed us a check a week after our phone call. It cleared and our credit remains on lockdown. She also has kept pretty quiet. Dear husband unblocked her but had her on mute. She did text a few times, but he would not open them until we were together. We started couples counseling. Amazing.
Huzzah.
He does alternative individual on the off weeks. Amazing. I felt good, optimistic. Hey, I don't need to update. Ha, ha, ha.
Uh-oh.
Huzzah.
The badness is coming.
Every year, dear husband and I host a 4th of July party, complete with some insane fireworks that border on illegal. Kappa usually
I like that, though. I like that.
Kappa usually is invited, but because of her craziness, she wasn't. She texted dear husband about it, but he ignored her. He didn't feel strong enough to respond, and she had blocked my number. Good on him. Good on him. I did send her a text, but she didn't get it because of this petty butt move. Anyway, we had dear husband's siblings there. We all had a margarita-fueled heart-to-heart about Kappa as the party wound down. Guys, she's only been escalating since brother-in-law 1 got married. They are no contact because she's discriminatory. All of his siblings detailed all the crazy stuff she did, but it's clear. Dear husband is her magnum opus. They talked about how she drove off his high school girlfriends, how she would listen in on her conversations via the old school phone trick. Yikes. Dear husband then divulged this continued when we started dating. All those early emails and Facebook messages she read. He would recap dates for her. They lived together in the first few months before he moved in with a roommate. How she stopped talking to him after he moved out because she felt abandoned. Apparently, dear husband never told his therapist. He since has. But wow, I was in shock. My sweet baby angel, dear husband, any fellow unalivinos will get this, just thought that all of this was normal. Normal. I just can't. I mean, he's been so gaslit.
It's what you're around.
He's been just so trained to think like this because his mom sucks.
When you're brought up in an environment like that for that long, it's just, of course you're going to think it's normal.
Yeah. And again, he was the last kid in the house. Like, he was stuck in that for so much longer than his siblings. Man.
And he was the magnum opus, as they said. So I just chuckled because Riley came in like, I can't even describe how he looked.
Did we get
One of a
openings today?
kind.
Sick like me.
He had the sunglasses on, and then he had his keys. He had the keys in his mouth, just dangling,
like
and he had
incense.
packages in his
It
arms.
smells like incense, and now it smells like tacos. I did not.
Riley's
Wait,
like,
what are you talking about?
Incense smells. I don't know. I don't have
Was
it.
it
I don't smell any.
You don't like that
I
smell?
like it. I like it,
that
so.
smell, but
Dude,
that gives Dakota headaches.
it does?
No, only Sage. Sage gives me headaches.
Okay. Well, anyway. But after the fourth party, Kappa made her move. Kappa showed up to dear husband's office right before he left for lunch and was sitting next to his car on the ground. I wasn't there, but it was probably as terrifying and creepy as we're all imagining. Dear husband managed to tell her to leave. He told me he was begging her to leave at one point. She just wanted to talk, and then she started crying. She grabbed his wrist and refused to let go. At one point, he said she was able to maneuver herself to sobbing on his shoulder. This is his job. People were staring, so he asked her to get in his car. He didn't want people gossiping. We later talked about how he got manipulated, which he knows and recognizes now. And I recognize that you guys need to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
No manipulation needed. to
No
get you there.
manipulation.
All you
This
need
is
are your
straight facts.
thumbs
It's
or your
true.
fingers. Or you could even type with your nose.
Probably. Or your tongue.
dirty,
Anything.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
an
kind of
option.
gross. I mean, you can sanitize your phone.
Anything is an option.
But anyway, that
your
there's a
phone-
little bit left to the story. Do
You know
have
your phone's
final
dirtier
thoughts?
than your toilet?
You
Yeah,
don't
that's
clean
why
your
I
phone?
sanitize mine.
I
Which
sanitize
actually,
my phone a
you're
lot.
gonna throw me that sanitizer at the end of the story.
You gonna drink it?
No. Showing up to your work is like, that's like, and then like making a scene is like, I'm like, ma.
Ma.
I might have to take some time away from you.
Ma.
And it's not because I like hate you.
'cause
No,
you're
I don't love
crazy.
you.
It's 'cause you're crazy.
Whatever. It's because you are literally a detriment to my financial
Yeah.
stability at this point.
Yeah. Kat says they need a restraining order. Dread says he kind of had to get her out of there. It could have cost him his job. I want that.
Oh
Can I
yeah?
have the other
You
half?
gotta do it after. You gotta do it
You
after.
want
Okay.
it?
Yeah, we'll give it to someone else. Okay, one second. And Middle Earth Chai says, how though does he have no friends? What is that in relation to? Like, how did she gaslight him?
That maybe they're earlier in the story.
Perhaps.
I'm not sure what that is towards.
But there is a little bit left to the story. I do think they need to either get a restraining order or put up some pretty heavy boundaries of like no contact. 'Cause-
Yeah, I think no contact is fine at this
Yeah.
point. Or it's
Yeah.
like no IRL contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just FaceTime. Start from there.
Or just even
She'll
like
just
leave a
find
voice
you though.
note.
She'll just
leave a
show up to
voice
wherever
note.
you are.
Yeah.
You know, just be like, hey mom,
You're going to have to.
day 62 of being apart from you. Hope you're less crazy now.
Hope you're less crazy. I'm doing great.
I'm doing really well.
No, you might not like that. Maybe invest in
Marriage
a
going
second
strong.
vehicle so when she
Yeah, she
sits
can't
behind your
track
car
you.
and won't let you leave, you can go to another secret vehicle that she doesn't know about.
Brilliant. But let's finish the story off. They went to his lunch spot and she complained about why they couldn't go somewhere nicer. Dear husband continued to do his best imitation of someone who couldn't care and told him he wasn't buying her lunch here or anywhere. He just needed to get removed from his job. She told him she is ill. She's depressed and lonely, that he did this to her, that she can't go on without her last son to keep her company. And dear husband broke. He cried. He said he felt utterly lost and confused. She then took this chance to blame me instead of trying to comfort her son. Then the effing clouds parted. Dear husband said he was going to the restroom, went out the side door, and left her sitting in a potbelly.
Yes.
He just left her.
Yes!
Dude, come back.
Yeah.
We had a Jamie Lannister comeback story here, and I'm proud of you, man. before it goes bad, apparently. This is a middle Jamie Lannister that it just
a late Jamie.
late
Jamie Lannister.
Jamie
Middle
Lannister.
late.
Middle
Jamie
to late
Lannister.
Jamie
Yeah.
Lannister. And I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you. I was pretty hard on you in the beginning of the story, and I think that's still fair. Still hold true to that, but I'm proud of you now.
Let's hope he doesn't do a season. Was it season 7 or season 8?
Yeah, don't do a season 7. Jamie Lannister.
Season 8, season 7.
He ended up coming home. We cuddled and went to therapy. Nice. She's back to harassing me, and I'm considering reaching out to shut her butt down. Not sure yet, but dear husband, trying so hard and is really making progress. That's
Good.
great. Proud of you, man.
We like to hear that.
We like progress.
We do like progress here.
And we've progressed to the end of that story.
That is. Don't let your mothers or your in-laws walk all over you.
It's true. Moral of the story, if your mom's freaking crazy, you gotta create some distance.
You gotta get crazier.
just like,
you gotta
I-
get crazier than the mom.
Listen to the people around you.
Yeah, who are telling
Something-
you,
you know,
especially
'cause
when
it's
all
like
of your
when you're-
siblings and your partner are all saying your mom's crazy.
Right.
Make her
Maybe your
scared
mom's
of you.
crazy.
Sometimes when you're the victim, it's really hard to see that you're actually
The victim.
like in the middle of like a really bad like relationship or dynamic or whatever you want to call it. It's like, but a lot of times people around you can see it very clearly and they
Yes.
will try to tell you about it.
Because they have perspective.
So if you are like, why is everyone telling me this? You should go, oh, maybe they're right.
she
Maybe that
is
is
the
really
problem.
happening. Think fast. Ah! How did
You
it
didn't
end
think
up
fast
over
enough.
there? It's spun.
It's
Span?
spun.
Span?
It's
Spun?
Spun.
Spun.
Like a little Beyblade.
I'm
Let
like,
it
okay,
rip.
I'll get it.
But that is the end of that story and the end of this episode. Dakota's reaching for a fortune cookie. He got it. Woo!
Am I the a-hole for staying with my parents and
No.
refusing to come home unless it is in the condition I left it in before my in-laws visited? And John, what do you think?
We have a house that has been ruined by OP's parents? Question mark? Or unnamed
I think
individuals?
OP's in-laws. OP's in-laws have ruined it, and OP is staying at their parents.
Right. So, wow. See, that's a tough one to make the stand against your in-laws. That's like not home turf. But you know what? Dang it if I don't respect it.
Yeah.
Dang it if I don't
In-laws
respect it.
clean the place, but there's only one way to really find out.
Spill that tea.
So this comes from Adept Entrepreneur 44, and they say, my husband cannot control his family, or at least he refuses to.
Nice.
When his parents visit and give us shit for forcing our kids to do chores, he gives in, and the house slowly becomes a mess that I have been left to clean up. When his siblings visit, we are expected to clean up after them. I never agreed to this, so now I leave. I lock my office up and go to my parents' house. I meet up with his family at restaurants or other public places. His parents have learned now that when they visit, they have to clean up after the kids or get them or my husband to do it. They tried saying that I was abusive for refusing to do housework while they visited. It's a little bit of a stretch.
You're abusing me by not cleaning up my mess.
So I posted a picture of my home before they came and one I took during their last visit.
Smart.
I asked them why the house was so messy and dirty and did they have anything to do with it. They said it wasn't their mess. I replied that the house was clean before they showed up.
Excuse me.
Once they started getting dogpiled for messing up my house, they threw the kids under the bus. They said my kids were uncontrollable and it was their mess. I pointed out that there was no mess until they came. So obviously my kids were able to clean up after themselves when there weren't people telling them not to. My husband's siblings have canceled plans to visit because they know I won't be there to clean up after them or cook. So they will have to cook or spend money on takeout and restaurants. Great outcome in my opinion. My husband says I'm being unfair, putting all the work of cleaning up on him. I said he has 2 children to help him as well as adult guests who should be able to not make a mess. I also told him he could just pay for a cleaning service out of his discretionary funds if he wanted to let his family run rampant and not clean up after them. He says I was being mean by not contributing and making him spend his money.
Ooh.
I asked him how much he normally spends on cleaning the house. The answer is nothing since the 4 of us keep the house clean and tidy when we are on our own. So am I the a-hole?
Whoa.
Everyone put your answers in the comments. Do you think OP is the a-hole by leaving and making everyone else, I guess, clean up after themselves? But John, what do you think?
Absolutely not. Listen, if you make the mess, you gotta clean it.
Yeah.
Thou who smelt it, dealt it.
Something like that.
Something like that. I also need to throw up a red flag because, correct me if I'm wrong, the husband was like, oh, you're gonna make me spend my money to clean up everything
And my time.
and my time. It's like, dude, like, first off, have some accountability with your family members.
And it feels very similar to the last story where like husbands just being like not allowing any responsibility to fall on the parents.
Exactly.
You know, like,
exactly.
and also
exactly.
Why are his parents saying that the kids shouldn't clean?
What is this? What is
Who else is going to do it? Because you aren't doing it. The kids aren't doing it.
Yep.
It all falls on the husband, I guess. Kind of BS.
Like what's going on here? This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Please try to make it make sense for us. Put your answers in the comments. So I guess like what do you think OP is the a-hole?
Absolutely not.
I think so too. Also, it's not like she just like did this after once. It was multiple times. She's like, finally, I'm just going to remove myself from the situation.
Exactly. Honestly, really
Riley,
smart.
Go ahead.
Do you think if this goes on for much longer, it would be a cause of divorce? Because it like could. You think it could snowball? Do you think it could snowball?
I mean, it seems.
I think yes. If it goes out of control like it did in the first story.
But it's not constant. So only every once in a while.
Yeah, it's not constant. But like, I guess when I think snowball, I'm thinking it's compounding. So like, all right, first it's like these dinners and stuff. Then it's
influencing the kids not doing their chores.
Like,
then it's having the kids smoke crack.
Boom, right there.
When does it stop?
When does it stop?
Never. I don't think it would. I
Cleaning
personally,
is the gateway drug.
Cleaning is the gateway drug to heroin.
These kids.
I mean, I don't think it because it's not constant that they're staying over. I don't think it's going to snowball that much.
Yeah,
but it could be a point of contention in the marriage for sure.
Could be.
But let us know what you think. Put your answer in the comments below.
My in-laws treated me like a servant, but I finally stood up for myself.
About darn time.
Sometimes you just got to stand up.
Yeah.
I am the fiance, female 33, and I visited my fiance, male 30, and his family this past summer. Let's call him Dan, and I will be Liz in this story. I was visiting the USA to live with Dan and his family for a month and attend Dan's sister's wedding. I am from Sweden. We have been together for 5 years and engaged for 1.5. This was not the first time I visited them, and I didn't think it would be the last one. Ha! By the way, this comes from user beginningsir2643 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. It all started with me being jet-lagged, stressed from traveling across half the planet, along with some Shark Week troubles. I had been there for about 2 days before crap hit the fan. One day, as I arrived and slept most of the time, the second day, I was focused on greeting the family, and I baked scones for them all. As my sister-in-law's wedding was a week away, a bunch of Dan's relatives and family had already gathered, and there were about 15 people that I baked for. Alongside this, I baked bread for myself. I have a severe food allergy that could end me in the hospital with internal bleeding. The whole family knows this, and I have told them before. I've visited before and told them again. I can make it clear that I know Dan's parents and his sister, but not the entire extended family. This was my first time meeting them, actually. However, the core family knows about my allergy. Even with this knowledge, the family was careless, and my food was contaminated a couple of times, mixing my burger patties with theirs on their plates, and so on. I was left with half meals without protein, or they made food I couldn't eat and didn't have any alternatives for. I ended up skipping meals or having to go out to buy things to eat without any notice. Along with all these things, I was asked to make a dish that my mother had taught me how to make, Chilean pierogi, that takes about 2 days to make if you make it alone. My father-in-law wanted me to make them so that his mother could try them. The family have tried these before and they loved them very much, so everyone in the extended family wanted to try them too. So I was prepared to make a large batch of these, and Dan and I bought all the ingredients and even doubled them so that everyone would get some. Again, the family was aware that I was going to make this dish. So the second day, my food was sabotaged, and on the third day, I'm expected to cook for everyone. I already baked for them and for myself, and I was prepared for the pierogies. During breakfast, I made a Swedish oven pancake for everyone. After this, Dan drove me to town so we could get extra ingredients for the chili sauce that was going to go with the pierogi. We came back home around 3 p.m. and the kitchen was already full of people working on other dishes. I thought I would be back in about an hour to see if there was maybe some more space to cook. I even asked them when I would have space to do my part, and they told me about an hour. But when I came back, the kitchen was still occupied and they were making complex dishes. I thought I would wait a bit more, but I was also told that it would be a while. Maybe I could cook around 6 p.m. or so, is what I was told. However, That would have been very late, as it takes at least 4 hours to get the filling made. It was going to be too late, and not to mention that every single pot, pan, and other utensil was already dirty, used, or filled up with food. I got angry over the situation, rolled my eyes, and left to go to my and Dan's bedroom. At this point, I am tired, hungry, overstimulated, and have been shoved to the side. So I explode. I felt used for all the food I had already done and how my own food had been contaminated because of everyone's carelessness. I just wished that since everyone knew I was going to make this dish in advance, that they had made something simpler for their dinner so that I could do my work. So I got really pissed off and I packed my bags to leave. Dan and the father-in-law were in the doorway and talking to me while this was happening. They were trying to ask me what was happening while I was extremely angry and upset and trying to leave. I asked them to move, first calmly, but increasingly more stressed and tense as they wouldn't let me go past. So I pushed through them rough with my bags, almost tossing the bag down 2 steps at the other side of the door. In the process, I ran over the father-in-law's foot, which I didn't notice at the time, which is itchy of me, I know. However, I was stopped by everyone. My mother-in-law talked to me and was guilt-tripping me into staying. Father-in-law was also talking to me, but it was Dan who ultimately asked me to stay. That did help me see things a bit more rationally and stay. The next day, Dan had to go to work, so I was alone in his room, and that way I could decompress. Then the mother-in-law comes to the door and demands that we talk. I told her no and that I needed to be left alone. And she was not taking that as an answer. She forced her way into the room, and then she started to trauma dump on me, someone who has trauma of their own. She accused me of being bipolar and would not leave me alone. This was also when I learned that I had rolled over father-in-law's foot with my bag, as she screamed at me that he was hurt and could not walk and had a terrible limp, which was an exaggeration. I learned later that a few of the extended family had asked about my well-being during this time too. Dan got back home and I told him everything. And he was in extreme shock as to what happened, having originally thought that his mother would be more reasonable than this. We tried to calm down and relax the rest of the day and avoided people for a while. We just needed time to decompress. That's all. The next day, we talked about how to go about things, and we both agreed that I should at least apologize for the accident that happened with father-in-law. Dan left the room to go talk to his family about me feeling better and being ready to talk. After mere minutes, he comes rushing back, panicked, and telling me that I'm being kicked out of the house. Dan, what did you do? What did you say?
Didn't they all want her to stay? Weren't they all begging her to stay? And she's like, I'm trying to leave. And then once she stays, they're like, we want you to leave.
I don't know what happened. My mother-in-law is threatening me that if I don't figure things out on my end, I'll be thrown out. Dan sits down with me and my mother-in-law storms in and shouts at me, along with calling me a whole list of names. She accuses me of being a liar and abusive, along with telling me that I'm a manipulative narcissist, because it turns out she's mad that I took attention away from the bride, as it's the sister-in-law's wedding week. This was when I learned that anyone had asked about my well-being the day before when I wanted to be by myself. Apparently, this was a huge problem. I need to make it clear that I did not want attention. I did not care for attention while I was upset. I did not scream at anyone. All I wanted to do was be alone in the bedroom until Dan got back home from work. So it sounds like the mother-in-law is being like, yeah, you just locked yourself in your room all day wanting everybody to pay attention to you. All I wanted was to be alone in the bedroom until Dan got back home from work. This is a culture clash thing. As in Sweden, we usually take some time away from a situation to cool down before confronting it and talking. But this is too offensive for Americans.
I think universally people take time away from intense situations and people that are a little bit ridiculous to calm down and chill.
Mother-in-law tells me that the bride is incredibly stressed out and has run out of the house and disappeared into the neighborhood. Something that, when we heard it, completely derailed the situation because we ran out to go find the sister-in-law. We drove around the neighborhood looking for her, but it turns out she was at home.
It sounds like a lost dog.
Yeah, I was about to say, they ran out.
And we're like, no, she can't be alone in the neighborhood. She might be in my car.
When we heard that she was at home, We went back. We walked into the house and we had decided that I should apologize to the bride. She didn't have anything to do with the situation and we didn't want to stress her out any further, though it seems like she wasn't gone at all during that time. It was actually something that the mother-in-law and father-in-law had planned out ahead of time. I didn't know that they had done that at the time. I was worried about the bride at that moment as I knew that she was stressed. Dan went to his sister and told her that we wanted to talk to her in private. She did not want that. She wanted to have a chat in front of the whole extended family, of which more had arrived during the past few days. Sister-in-law asked me to come along to talk, and I thought that we would do something about everything. Sister-in-law told me that she wasn't stressed about the situation, contrary to what mother-in-law had said. As we stood there with the whole family around us, which is 20 plus people at this point, sister-in-law told me that I'm an abuser. She's afraid of what I do behind closed doors, and that she thinks that Dan should be the one that decides if I should stay or not for the wedding. Because mother-in-law and sister-in-law were convinced that I would interrupt the ceremony with drama and they didn't trust me. Then she tells me that I have harassed her soon-to-be husband and that I treated him badly. Something both me and her then fiance, now husband, were equally as confused and perplexed about. I said a confused sorry, and he accepted that just as confused as I was, and we moved on. The worst of it was that she accused me of being abusive to Dan, as in physically abusive. I was in such a shock over hearing this. I would never. I'm a victim of abuse and I have PTSD over it from many years ago. One of Dan's cousins got upset and wished to talk to me in private about this. So she and I left and she asked about the accusations. She didn't like how Dan and I like to banter with each other. With my accent, I can come off as harsher when I speak, and me and Dan have a playful back and forth as we flirt that can come off as a little rough, calling each other dumbass and craphead. Dan told me that when we were in the other room, me and his cousin, the awkward silence the whole family was sitting in was palpable. A while later that day, me and the father-in-law, along with Dan, sat down to talk about the foot accident. I apologized and he accepted. I had to prove myself that I was a good person by hanging out with the whole family right after everything that just happened, all to show that I wasn't as bad as the sister-in-law had just tried to prove to everyone that I was. Somehow, I did that. Somehow, we pretended nothing was wrong and we were just gonna hang out with everyone. Then the wedding happened a day or two later. During the day, I was left alone a lot. Dan was one of the groomsmen, so he had those duties to attend to, and the ceremony went well without any drama. Go figure. One major issue that did come up was that there was no food for me to eat because of my food allergy. So Dan and I left the wedding party early so that way I could get to eat something.
Dude, I see you. The family's going to go nuts.
Yeah.
The family's going to go nuts over this.
After we left the party, along with the few days after, things were quiet and peaceful for a little while. But Dan went to go talk to his mother about what happened. So when Dan returned, he looked extremely stunned and was silent for a while. But after some time, he said that his mother has had these kinds of opinions in regard to the name calling for a very long time. And it all came out when she was very emotional during the wedding week. This left us both in shock, and we realized that we needed to go on our own little vacation sooner in order to get some fresh air and discuss what was said back and forth and figure out how things may end up looking in the future. During this period of time, we both had a lot of troubling realizations and a lot of tears from both sides were shed. Dan could not believe that his mother was doubling down on her opinions instead of thinking about it all rationally after a few days had passed. After I left the country, he was forced into a conversation with his family in regards to what happened. And now we are left with the choice of him most likely having to separate himself from his family entirely once he moves to Sweden. They even told Dan that they would refuse to have any sort of relationship with me or our potential future kids. That they would not be part of our children's lives just because they shared my blood. Just thinking about a future where I would have to tell my children that their grandmother and aunt hates them just because they hate me is already making me emotional and upset. And by the way, it would make me really emotional and upset if you didn't join us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube. All you gotta do is tap our profile.
I mean, they just get crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
Like the going no contact with the unborn children.
Yeah.
In all my years of reading Reddit stories, I have never heard that.
That is the quickest cutoff I think I've read
yeah,
yet.
that
is
was
like
quick.
before they
That
even
was
exist.
Quick.
We'll have no. I won't speak a word. To
I
those.
remember
the
reading
half-blood
this
prince.
one story. This one story of these like racist parents that were like they were super racist.
Yeah.
And hated OP's significant other because they were racist. Even they wanted to see the grandkids, but would just like say racist things about the grandkids. But like they wanted to be there.
Those dirty mudbloods.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, I just want Dan here with me, far away from any accusatory and abusive situations. This whole thing has revealed to him that his mother and sister planned for him to stay in the house in his room and do his job without any self-autonomy. They have already made plans for mother-in-law and father-in-law to move to a new house and for the sister-in-law to take over the family home with her new husband. In this plan, Dan was apparently going to come along as a good little dog. Because he has a diagnosis of autism, they believe that he cannot have a life of his own. And that's the end of the story. You're going to hit us with that at the end of the story? Well, unfortunately, I feel like that explains why the family's kind of trying to railroad him.
The whole family's a little nuts in the guts.
Weird old family. That
Yeah,
is the
that's random.
end of that story.
My in-laws want me to give up my pregnancy, so I'm planning to cut them out of my child's life.
So you gave up the
Is
in-laws.
this sad?
Yeah, can we? I don't want to end
Is
on a
this
sad.
sad?
No, you get your
want-
vegetables
As the
now.
title
I want-
states, I'm pregnant. My own family found out maybe 2 weeks ago, and they're so supportive. My fiance is going into the military. Basically, my family-in-law is really toxic to me. I try to be kind and respectful every time I'm over, but I deal with an anxiety disorder and have problems opening up to others.
This is the same story for the past like 10 stories.
People can't open up.
No, just like terrible in-laws and
It's
anxiety
true.
disorders.
There's a lot of anxiety and terrible in-laws.
I
out
guess
there.
so.
You're not alone out there.
Yeah.
They don't really talk to me much when I'm over anyways. They just exchange pleasantries like, "Hi, how are you?" And I respond and ask them the same. "Hello, how are you?"
Like an NPC.
And they leave it at that. It's understandably awkward. By the way, this comes from Plenty Jacket 2186 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So one day, it actually escalated. It was maybe 6 days before I found out I was pregnant, and we were having an outing with their entire extended family. Everyone was having fun, and I was starting to open
Hey.
up. My fiance tells his cousin that we got our marriage certificate, and that's where everything goes to crap. She yelled to his mom, "You know they're married," which wasn't really true. We had just bought the certificate, and it wouldn't force us to get married. We could back out at any time. Keep in mind, his mom knew we were getting married. My fiance had told her everything, and she told me not to tell my parents because of my past with them. Now, in front of her extended family, she acted as if she had no idea. She told my fiance, "You know you can't live here when you're married, right?" My fiance said he knew. We were looking to move into a mobile home, and she knew that. She then insulted him in front of everyone, asking, "You're gonna make her pay for everything?" Knowing that I had just got around $15K for something, and I don't mind paying. The military would help with basic housing, and it won't be forever. But just being completely rude in front of everyone, and I'm just sitting there while they're arguing, just so confused because she was actively encouraging us to get married about a week ago in confidence. That is very weird to switch up.
Yes, you had a complete switch up.
Yeah, in front of everyone else.
Yeah.
Then she's like, "I paid for your insurance," etc. and tries to pull it up in front of everyone on her bank app. Keep in mind, we're in
What?
public.
That's so inappropriate.
And she didn't even pay. He did his job and would chip in every month with $100 to $200. She couldn't even find it on her banking app. That's embarrassing. So
it's
yeah,
not
she's
here,
like-
but I
she's
did
like,
it.
I swear.
I swear it.
So he's getting offended and pissed because this is no one's business, understandably so. And he says, "We're doing this for love. You moved out for love once when you were 14 with 3 guys."
Oh.
Which I can't stand behind him saying that. 2 wrongs never ever make a right in my book.
Whoa.
Yeah, we don't know what happened there. My jaw genuinely dropped, and that entire time I stayed silent. I wasn't smiling, laughing, nothing. His mother looks at me because she knows she can't get to him anymore and says, "Do your parents know about this? Maybe I should give them a call," angrily at me, knowing that she told me and my fiance not to let them know because I have had problems with them in the past, possibly getting kicked out, and I was genuinely scared. She then says, "It's crappy of you not to tell them." You told her not to do that.
I'm frustrated.
Who is this lady? I looked at her with the most hurt and betrayed look I had ever had in my life.
Aw.
I was so hurt, especially since I have never been disrespectful to her and my fiance had told her everything beforehand. She just acted as if she didn't know. My fiance starts to storm off and makes me follow while I just pause and try to motion him to talk, but he makes me follow. When we get in his car, I just break down and have a panic attack because I'm thinking I'm about to lose everything. We didn't have a plan yet. We go back to his house so I can calm down. Mind you, I'm pregnant. Ooh, and don't even know yet, and I'm having an entire panic attack. They come home after, and he talks to her and asks her not to call my parents. She says, which I still find so insane, I never said I would call her parents, and I never called her a crappy person. So she's just gaslighting everyone. No offense, she kind of did. Saying that it's crappy of me not to tell them when she literally told me not to is gaslighting. My fiance says that I'm upstairs having a panic attack, and she's like, that's not my problem. It's yours. You did this.
What?
Then she says to my fiance that I'm no longer welcome in the house after he tells his mom that I'm valid if I don't want a relationship with her after this entire thing because I genuinely didn't do anything. It was their argument. I wasn't involved. So the husband's like, to OP, if you don't want to have a relationship with my mom, that's okay.
No. He's telling the mom. He's kind of adding fuel to the fire of like, if my partner doesn't want to have a relationship with you,
I see.
Then she's valid.
I get it. Yeah.
Which is just gonna upset his mom even more.
Oh. So I do an entire walk of shame out of there. That's just one instance of why I don't want my child involved with them. Next instance, his sister found out I was pregnant through Instagram. A close friend who I confided in told her, bad friend.
Yeah, what the heck?
And immediately texted him instead of me asking for my medical details, how many weeks I was, what the doctor said, when me and her are not close and had a falling out a year ago.
Oh, you had a falling out?
With the sister.
With a sister? No, this was like a friend.
So his OP's husband's sister, or OP's partner's sister, and her, I guess, used to be close, but they had a falling out.
Oh, it was a sister.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And now she's asking all this medical information. I was also high risk, I had found out, for a miscarriage, especially with the recent stressors.
Oh, no.
When we got to their house, she didn't ask me what I wanted. She told me to immediately terminate the baby and that she could send me somewhere to get pills.
Whoa. This was
the sister.
The sister?
This was the sister.
Are we sure?
Yeah. When we got to it doesn't specify that it was the mother, so I'm assuming this is the sister. I was so appalled. I want my baby. I love this baby. I don't think I ever could forgive that. I tried to make up with the mom a couple days after me being kicked out before his sister and I knew about the baby, and we kind of did, I think, make up. But it was me apologizing for nothing, and she hardly took accountability. I'm just non-confrontational.
Wait. You apologize for nothing? Like you didn't apologize? Or you apologized, but there was nothing to apologize?
Yes, I think that's what she's saying. She's like, I didn't do anything, but I apologized because I didn't want to make a,
I'm so frustrated.
Before you ask, I'm actively looking for work to support this baby. It would be more ideal to wait until he goes into the military, but things happen. He could get in sooner, and he's sworn in already as well. And to give more insight on my parents before you ask as well, they're supportive at the moment, which surprised me. They likely are more supportive because they are retired military, and my mother got married at my age as well, so they're excited, honestly. And I'm excited for you guys to listen to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story, but do you have any final thought?
I was just thinking, like, did you enjoy your food, Keon? That's where my mind was.
Because you're hungry.
Maybe it's that. I was just thinking of.
And we're so close.
We're so close.
Okay. Oh, my thoughts.
Okay, he hasn't eaten, guys.
You tell me your thoughts first.
Okay. I think that it is completely inappropriate for the sister to say that, to tell you what to do with your child.
That's a horrid thing.
Horrible thing to say.
Horrid.
And I think on the thing of like apologizing to the mother-in-law, honestly, it's not going to improve your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to probably come at you for something else in the future. And I think you need to set those boundaries now.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that means like going low contact with her if she's going to continue to disrespect you.
Yeah.
Especially when you got, your own family to worry about.
It seems like OP has huge people-pleasing tendencies and also anxiety.
Yeah,
like
which
big
adds to
anxiety and panic attacks involved with that. And then you have the kryptonite of someone like that, which is this mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be shocked if you had a relationship with her, if she didn't continue to test your lack of boundaries repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly.
Exactly.
So I am not looking forward to more of this relationship.
No. But there's a little bit more to the story. What were you going to say?
It was all right, Alex.
What?
The
Okay.
food, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's what you expect.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong to just cut that out of my and my child's life before it starts? I'm a very forgiving person, but I don't want to forgive, and they hurt this beautiful baby I'm carrying. I just keep seeing red flags from them, and I really truly want the baby to be happy. Thank you all for reading. Lastly, please do not tell me to get rid of my baby.
Aw.
Ugh. I want the baby. I don't want to see things like that, especially being high risk and having that fear in the back of my mind that something will go wrong / focusing on my fiance being military.
No one's saying
Telling
that.
me to get rid of my child or leave my fiance is very rude.
It's awful.
No one should be saying that. And I don't think you would be the a-hole for not wanting to have a relationship with these people who are actively gaslighting you and telling you horrible things.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a relationship with them.
I think there's a lot of room to shift relationships, but I'm not sure how this relationship can be shifted.
And you don't have to forgive someone who doesn't apologize.
I don't have hope for this.
Yep. But that is the end of that story.
Oh, really?
My in-laws ruined my baby shower because I didn't invite my brother-in-law's ex.
That's a ridiculous reason.
My boyfriend Matt and I were expecting our first baby boy.
Oh, baby boy.
And we're so excited to celebrate his coming into the world. I was very unsure if I really wanted to go through with the baby shower, considering I was already 32 weeks pregnant.
That's a lot of pregnancy.
And my job had already thrown me a big, beautiful baby shower that included Matt. By the way, this comes from Shell C97 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So in the end, everyone convinced to have it since this was my first baby. Matt and I worked very hard to make my vision come to life. The only people that really pitched in and offered to help was my family, Matt's cousin, and his father-in-law, Jerry. Before I go into depth on the details of the baby shower fiasco, I want to talk about what led to this whole mess. I had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, Mariana, and sister-in-law, Emily, also including Matt's dad and half-brother, Samuel. Mariana, Emily, and I would hang out a lot, and I always looked forward to them visiting from out of state. When I found out I was pregnant, Emily found out she was pregnant too. And we were so excited to share our journey together. My relationship with Matt's brother, Samuel, was good, I could say. He never said much to me, but nonetheless, he was always very nice the few times he'd come around. He had his own kid and girlfriend, Beatrice, but while I was pregnant, they were not together. Beatrice and I had spoken over the phone before, and she was very nice. So I had no issue with her, but when I had met her in person, she ignored me and didn't seem to want anything to do with me. I didn't understand why that was. So I expressed to Mariana and Emily that I had a hunch about Beatrice disliking me. Emily then blurted out that Beatrice told them she didn't like me because her boyfriend Samuel said his brother has a pretty girlfriend. She is hot! We were right.
I knew it.
We were right.
I knew
Let's
it.
Go. Samuel never showed weird signs of liking me. He's always shy, but very genuine with everyone. So it was crazy how she would even assume he meant that in a whole different way. When I found out about 4 months of pregnancy in, Beatrice kicked Samuel out of their home, and he asked if he could stay in our living room. Meanwhile, he could find a place to live. When Beatrice found out he was staying with us, she was not happy. And she even blocked me on social media. Shortly after, we found out she was pregnant as well. And Samuel moved into his own apartment by then. Beatrice had a gender reveal for her 4th son, and we were not invited, nor were we notified they would have one. It didn't bother me because that's her party. She can invite whomever she wants, and I'm not the type of person to throw a pissy party over it. I started planning my baby shower and making my invitation list. Considering that she didn't like me, I decided I didn't want to invite someone with bad energy to my party.
That's right.
But I invited my brother-in-law and his son, considering they weren't even together at the time, let alone living together. Mariana and Emily started to question why I didn't invite her, and I explained my reasons. They said they understood, and the topic was brought up again 2 months before my party while I was talking to Emily over the phone. I then again explained why I didn't want her at my party, but I told her that if Beatrice really wanted to come, she could reach out and we could talk things out to avoid awkwardness.
I wasn't going to make it. You started laughing.
I wanted to have a good time with no tension. And that went for everyone. I uninvited my own father from my party because he was very negative to my boyfriend at the time and was refusing to act accordingly for my party. So I politely asked him not to show a month prior, and he respected that. Mind you, Matt doesn't need me to ask him to stick up for me and himself because he will do it with no hesitation. The issue is that he can be a hothead and things can go from 0 to 100 in seconds, so I would rather avoid any issues. The day before my baby shower, Emily and Mariana came from out of state, but they were staying with Samuel since my mother was staying with us to help with the baby shower. Mariana and Emily came to visit me the day they got here, and I left them in the apartment by themselves while my mom and I went out to grab what we needed for the party the next day. We have a living room camera for the cats, and we caught Emily and Mariana going through our things, calling Matt and I fat because of all the snacks we had in our cabinets. They also had the audacity to go through my mother's luggage and speaking badly on her for no reason. My mother was very kind and she loves to make friends. They started saying they were going to confront me about not inviting Beatrice and bringing her regardless. Matt wanted to say something, but I begged him, for the sake of the party being the next day, not to. He and I decided to turn a blind eye, but the day of the party, after decorating, my mother-in-law confronted me in front of some of my family that I was being childish for not inviting Beatrice. I started to tell her that we spoke on the topic and she agreed that I wasn't going to invite her if I didn't want to. She proceeded to yell that she got me a really nice gift, and because of that, I had to invite her.
The best gift would be you not being present.
Yeah.
Your lack of presence is my present.
Yeah. I was in a time crunch, so I said fine, but her son was not going to be happy about it. With all the emotions I had as a 32-week-old pregnant woman, I couldn't help but break down in the car and cry. I was filled with rage because in this moment, I felt cornered and vulnerable, and she took advantage of it and took advantage of the fact that she knew I was too nice to say anything mean or firm. I called Matt and told him what happened, and he was immediately furious. I begged him not to say anything to his mom. I just wanted to vent, but he also didn't want Beatrice at the party for his own reasons. Everyone hates Beatrice.
Yeah.
When I got home, I found Matt yelling at his mom, Mariana, on the phone, crying and telling her he didn't want to talk to her after the party. I'm not sure how they got to that point, but we had to start leaving for the shower location because people were arriving, so we didn't have much time to talk or cool down. When I got there separately to when Matt got there, I greeted everyone, including Beatrice. I gave her a hug and said, thank you for coming. So OP's leading with kindness.
Hey, yeah, get ahead of the problem, just kill it with kindness.
Yeah. And then went to fix my pastries. I guess while I had my back turned, Matt approached Beatrice and kindly said, you should say hi to my girlfriend, since he assumed she had not. Beatrice storms out and tells my in-laws Matt kicked her out, and so my sister-in-law Emily storms towards me to yell at me for it. Beatrice was looking for drama.
Yeah, she bit on the
I
first
asked her
opportunity.
kindly if we could go somewhere else to talk, but she said, no, I don't care who hears. I hate this.
I don't care who hears. I don't care who hears this at your wedding.
I know you don't care, but this is my baby shower.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my baby
There's more
shower,
people
and
than just
I
you.
care. I know you don't. I know you want to sabotage it. She starts yelling at me, asking me why I would ask Matt to yell at their mom like that, and they've always been there for me, but now I've caused a big mess because I couldn't help but cry victim to Matt. I was trying my hardest to keep my composure, but my blood was boiling. While she kept going on about how I forced her brother to say certain things, so I just yelled, you know what? This isn't the time or place. Please get the F out of my face.
Yes.
OP putting the foot down.
Yes.
She said F you both and left along with Mariana and Jerry. Mariana told Jerry, my father-in-law, and Emily that it was all my fault. In doing so, Jerry called me later that day saying I kicked his daughter out of my party and destroyed his family. Emily, that it was all my fault. In doing so, Jerry called me later that day saying I kicked his daughter out of my party and destroyed his family. Matt and I were so bummed we didn't even have a good time. But I think if you want to have a good time, you could join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile
Just
right
tap
here
it.
on YouTube. It sounds like, OP is being as reasonable as possible. The entire family is literally plotting against her,
Yeah.
even though months before she said why she didn't want to invite Beatrice. It
She's
felt
like,
like
because it's going to be dramatic.
it was dramatic.
She even tried to get out of it. She's like, hi, you're here. Thank you. I'm being nice. I'm being nice. First opportunity that the stinky century egg had to cause drama in this
They're
context,
still
she
on
took
that.
it. She ran with it.
My mother-in-law left me a voicemail saying she was going to take back the stroller she gave us and get us kicked out of the apartment because it was hers first. The voicemail said she was going to come and cause a scene because I didn't want to answer her calls. When Matt and her talked things out, he explained that I never asked him to say anything to her or disrespect her. Nonetheless, she wasn't too convinced and gave me a half-booty apology saying that it was probably just her then. Emily and Jerry never apologized, but at least Jerry is still nice to me and comes around since he lives near us, while Mariana and Emily live out of state, but never call or text ever since my baby boy was born. Was I the a-hole for not inviting Beatrice? I think not.
No.
Not at all.
In fact, you were kind of an angel for even allowing her to show up to the wedding in the first place.
And also, she was so nice. She was so nice. She was like, hey, thank you for coming. Gave Beatrice a hug.
Tried to immediately play the peacemaker. Beatrice wanted her to have her stinky egg smell.
Yeah, she wanted to be cracked
permeate
all over the sidewalk.
The entire wedding.
Yeah.
Just
Beatrice get buried for
stinky,
another 100
rotten
years.
egg, foghorn sound effect.
Yeah. But that's the end of that story.
My mother-in-law hates my daughter's name, so I kicked her out of my house.
There you go.
And this is a direct OK Storytime submission.
What?
Straight from you guys.
No way.
Way.
Whoa.
Both me, 28 female, and my husband, 30 male, are from Latin America. We moved to the UK shortly after we had our eldest, 5 male. Our daughter, who turns 1 in April, was born here. My mother-in-law, 60s, and my husband's older brother, 37 male, neither of whom have ever met my daughter before, are flying over for her birthday. Brother-in-law wanted to get a hotel room for himself, and mother-in-law doesn't speak any English, so we decided to have her stay at our place instead of leaving her alone in a foreign country. By the way, this comes from Happy Concert 2891 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So years ago, when I was pregnant with my son, my husband and I made the mistake of revealing his name to our families. My mother-in-law spent the next months complaining about it. She'd send us lists of name suggestions, look up bad historical figures with the same name as the one we'd chosen, and just generally say it was awful.
I want to know the name.
Yeah.
Really
It's
bad.
like Peter. She's like, ah. She didn't stop until our son was born and the name was on his birth certificate. So for my second pregnancy, we decided to keep our daughter's name a secret until after her birth. We figured that not knowing her name until it was unchangeable would stop mother-in-law from complaining. We were wrong. Our daughter's name is Cecilia. That's a beautiful name.
That's gorgeous.
Minutes after she was born, my mother-in-law called my husband and asked, "You know Cecilia means blind, right?"
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Almost a year later, she hasn't stopped complaining. If it's not because of the meaning, it's because it's ugly, long, or an old lady name.
Oh my goodness.
There have been occasions in which my husband sent pictures of her to his family group chat, and his mom replied with stuff like, "How cute. Too bad her name's Cecilia."
Oh my
Are
goodness.
we bullying a child now?
Please.
Dude, stop. It genuinely feels like my daughter is being bullied.
There you go.
Whenever we talk to my mother-in-law, which has been happening less and less lately for this exact reason, she has a new complaint. Up until now, the main reason I was able to kind of tune it out was because she hadn't complained to us in person or in front of our children. But she'll be here in less than 2 weeks, and I'm absolutely certain she'll continue her crusade at our home. I don't want to hear it. I don't want my son to hear it. And I don't want my baby's first birthday to be ruined by grandma's being. So a couple months ago, my husband and I called his mom. We told her she could no longer stay with us and to ask brother-in-law to help her get a hotel room. We also told her the reasons behind her decision. Mother-in-law cried on the phone and has called us several times since. She always either apologizes, calls us dramatic, or accuses us of alienating her from her grandkids. Throughout all of this, she continues to insist she has the right to dislike our daughter's name and still hasn't booked a hotel room. My brother-in-law agrees she's being a wiener, but is upset we told her she can no longer stay at our place. He's accusing us of forcing an elderly woman to stay alone in a foreign country, even though we're perfectly capable of housing her. Well, maybe she's perfectly capable of keeping her mouth shut.
That's right.
So if she wanted to stay with you, then she should have done that.
Exactly.
Also, did you reapply your lip?
I did,
was
yeah.
like, oh, it looks, how did you do that? He's also mad that after promising for months that mother-in-law could stay at her house, we're retracting our offer. This whole situation has been exhausting, and I'm starting to worry I might be overreacting. Am I the a-hole? And there are some relevant comments But what do you think?
No.
Mm-mm.
Like, why does she have to make that? It's a name.
Yeah.
It's a name. Even if it was a bad name, like, deal with it.
Deal with it. You don't get to talk about it after the child has been named that name.
Right. And then this is also just like a beautiful name, though,
It's a
too.
beautiful name.
I still want to know what the son's name is,
Yeah, me too.
Because at first, part of me was like, this might be a bad joke, so you might have to take it out. But like, can you imagine it if like they revealed the name and it's like I just want to name my kid Stalin. Like, I just want to name my kid Adolf. What's wrong with that? Like,
what's wrong with that? And she's like,
that'd be really funny. But I'm sure it's a normal name because Cecilia is very normal and very beautiful.
Exactly.
But
there are some relevant comments. On OP's relationship with her mother-in-law. Besides this problem, we have an okay relationship with her. Could be better, but it's way less awful than many of my friends' mother-in-laws. That said, she's always had the tendency to complain. Even before we had kids, we knew she'd complain about whatever names we picked. We just didn't know how bad it would be. The commenter says, not the a-hole. She made the decisions that led to this. You're not making her do anything. And it's not like the UK is a war zone. Her safety is not at risk. I agree that safety wouldn't be much of a concern, but I also agree that being left alone in a foreign country you've never visited without knowing the language can be effing terrifying. Who is paying for the trip? Mother-in-law is paying for her plane ticket. Brother-in-law is paying for his. He's also helping her cover some expenses, but she's paying for most of her stuff. Not the a-hole, says another commenter. And now I'm curious about your son's name if she takes offense to Cecilia.
That's right.
I freaking knew it was gonna. Okay, I know I didn't say it, but I was like, it's Peter or Henry. I freaking called it in my head and I didn't say it outside.
I really
didn't say
do
it out loud.
believe you.
I was like, is it Peter or Henry?
Yeah, you literally called it.
I literally called it, guys. But it doesn't matter. We could name our kids after her and she'd still complain. And there is an update. But man, oh man. Yeah,
Man.
I think she should have kept her mouth shut if you wanted to stay with you guys.
Yeah, like, I don't know. This is the cards you've dealt.
This is the cards you've dealt. Maybe one thing you could do is like say, hey, if you want to stay with us, you have to stop talking. And if we hear these comments, you have to leave.
You have to stop talking forever.
You have to stop talking, period.
Can't talk when you're around us.
Literally, I don't want to hear
say
a word coming out of your mouth. Hey everyone, it's been a while since I posted, so I wanted to give you an update. I'll try to be brief. For the next couple of weeks after my first post, mother-in-law continued her attempts to convince us to let her stay with us, but still refused to book a hotel room. My husband and I decided to speak with brother-in-law again. He told us that the main reason why he wanted to get a hotel room for himself was to explore the city on his own, but could understand why we didn't want mother-in-law to stay with us anymore. Eventually, he agreed to help her get a different room at the hotel he'd stay in. From what I gather, he also spent the weeks leading up to the visit telling his mother that if she tried complaining about Cecilia's name at any point, he would call a taxi to send her back to the hotel. So they did warn her.
Yeah. They're being fair.
They're being fair. Cecilia's birthday went off without a hitch, except for the fact that mother-in-law immediately tried to give her a nickname. For a few hours, she kept calling her Lila. She was doing so behind our backs, and my husband and I didn't realize until our son came to ask us if Grandma knew Cece's name. My brother-in-law offered to call the taxi, but we decided to brush it off. Later, my husband pulled mother-in-law aside and said that if she ever tried to complain about either of our children again, she wouldn't get to visit us anymore. She behaved herself until she and brother-in-law flew back home, and we haven't heard any complaints from her since. I'm very satisfied with this outcome, though I'm still worried she'll complain about my kids again in the future. I now know that we have my husband's brother by our side, which will greatly help us navigate our relationship with their mother. And you can navigate your relationship with us by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
And there's a little bit left to this, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think
it all worked out.
I think it all worked out.
Yeah.
I think the mother-in-law is being crazy. I think that's so funny that kid was like, does she know her name? Because she's not saying it.
Not saying the right name.
And it's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's a good question. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think they're handling it just fine.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Also, kudos to those who brought up Simon and Garfunkel's Cecilia. Though I love that one, our girl was actually named after a song by Brazilian singer Chico Buarque. I couldn't find a video with English subtitles. Thank you for reassuring me I wasn't overreacting. I wish you all well. And that is the end of that story.
Beautiful.
I think that all wrapped up really well.
I agree.
Yeah. But that's the end of that story.
Fiance and I are getting married, but I hate his family.
That sounds like a pretty big problem.
I got engaged last fall. My fiance and I are high school sweethearts who've been together for 7 years. We moved to a new city together, got our first full-time jobs, and then he proposed. I've been stressing and researching ever since then about the relationship. I can't seem to find an affordable option. We came close to booking a full wedding for $25,000, but the price tag made our stomachs drop. We couldn't justify spending that much on a few hours. More months passed without any better alternatives, and I finally find an elopement place that does 1 hour ceremonies / photos, and we settled on that. I wonder how much that was. I had a week off work coming up in the next month, so we booked for that weekend. We decided to do something with just the two of us and plan a big celebration. Later, by the way, this comes from No Character 5831 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my parents insisted on wanting to be present for my dad to walk me down the aisle. I was fine with that and opened it up to us and our parents. So it's going to be a small ceremony.
Yeah.
Figured we should do a small dinner at a steakhouse afterwards to make it worthwhile for everyone flying out. My fiance is close to his family and really wanted his siblings there as well. So we opened it up to just immediate family. The elopement allows a max of 12 guests, which added up perfectly for immediate family to be able to come. Sent out last minute texts and basically said, hey, we're doing something small plus small dinner afterwards if you're able to come. We were well aware it was extremely short notice for everyone, 1 month, and that people wouldn't be able to make it. My side of the family got into action. They booked everything. My sister has 2 toddlers plus a newborn and is very broke, but my family all helped her out and made it work out so that she could come. Essentially, my family said, what the hell? Okay, we'll be there, and we are excited. My fiance side lost their freaking minds.
Uh-oh.
They're accusing me of being pregnant.
What an accusation.
Trying to lock him down, trying to get on his insurance. I have my own insurance. I'm not pregnant, which we have said, and we have been together for 8 years already, so I'm not trying to lock him down.
What is that?
He's
That
already
makes-
been locked.
That makes no sense.
They are all very well off and have fairly flexible work schedules. They've been non-stop calling and texting him saying that we are stressing them out. You're stressing me out.
Yeah, it's stress.
This is unreasonable, etc. We understand that, yes, it is unreasonable to ask to come out of short notice, but it's not supposed to be a terrible event. So this morning he woke up to paragraphs of messages from his sister saying this is bad and we are stressing her out, and what the F are we doing? Then he received a call from his mom in which he said he needs to stand up for himself to me for, I guess, getting on his insurance and like locking him down with a baby, which she doesn't have. I'm not forcing this wedding idea on him. We agreed to it mutually, and that he made his whole family sad and that she might as well stay out of his life, and then hung up on him. So she's going no contact with him.
Because they're like, you're not doing your wedding right.
Yeah, it's too quick.
Think of us.
You guys are doing love, I guess. His mom is able to make it. His sister didn't want to ask for a day off work, but did and got the day off. She thinks it's too embarrassing to have asked. His grandpa said no because he booked tickets for a play in advance and that we should just do the ceremony at his rec center and take the pictures ourselves. His grandpa said no just because she didn't feel like it. His dad can make it. His brother can make it. I can explain more if I'm missing any major points here, but I'm so upset and don't know what to do. My family is booked and happy, and I was happy. His family can book, but just don't like our idea and won't stop letting him know. My family is not well off, so if I cancel, they will be out money for flights and hotels because they've already done it.
The good eggs have already committed.
Yeah.
And these people are just like, wow, that's too small.
Well,
make it bigger.
I feel like just like you've self-selected your eggs, you know, like you got the spoiled rotten ones that have rolling out of the basket. I think leave them there on the side of the road and take your basket and run.
Leave those stinky
Look
eggs,
at those stinky eggs
and let them stink
we
up
don't,
the
we
whole
don't need
town.
them. Let them. Do eggs explode after
let them
a
stink
while?
up your
If
wedding.
they, like in the sun for too long.
I've never left an egg in the sun long enough for it to explode.
Experiment.
We'll get on that though.
Yeah.
We'll report
Don't
back
worry.
with our findings.
We will leave no egg unsunned.
There is a thing called a 1,000-year egg. Have you guys not heard that?
Oh, the century egg.
Yeah.
What's the? Is it
We'll
like
talk
a?
about it. Read the story. We'll talk about
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right.
That was your fault,
That
Keon.
brought up something super interesting.
I forgot. I forgot this
egg.
is the ADHD stream, and I forgot like
Yeah,
one
yeah,
word.
dude, we were
gets you
doing
guys, like,
so
off topic.
well.
And hi, there's a lot going on back here, so just don't worry about us.
Before Keon interrupted, I was gonna do a TLDR
Oh, yeah,
to get
my
us back
fault.
on track because this will not be the ADHD stream. So I will be out money for the ceremony, dinner, deposit, and cake. I don't want to plan a huge wedding because it's too stressful for me. We don't have flexibility to change dates because April is full of birthdays for his family, and our lease ends in May, and we will be moving. My fiance is obviously very upset about how his family is so angry with him. His last text from his sister was, "Okay, have fun then." And the last words from his mom were, "I guess I'll stay out of your life then."
Whoa. Whoa.
I don't understand the anger and why they are being so mean to him. It makes me want to call them and argue and defend him, but I'll know that will stress him out more. Any advice? And there is a thick, juicy update.
We'd love a good, thick, juicy update.
Yeah, a thick, juicy egg that we can just gnaw into.
Just to nibble into it.
And this one has not been in the sun for 1,000 years. Advice for OP that seems to be in dire straits.
Well, I think clearly there's an issue the way it feels to me is that there's an issue outside of what's going on with like the destination or the location. Like they've got problems with
OP.
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's pregnant and she's trying to lock it. It's like, and they're expressing it in this context because it's more socially acceptable, I guess, where it's like
Imagine
they
saying
found
you're
some
getting
weird
married,
in. Yeah.
And the first thing the family says is she's trying to like lock you down.
Yeah, she's
That
trying to
is
steal your health
instead
benefits.
of congratulations.
Well, it's like not to mention they've been together for 8 years.
Yeah,
it's
like say that initially. Say that in the first year, you know?
Yeah.
Update. He's received 3 more missed calls, a voicemail, and 6 messages from his mom since posting this morning. He's just stopped replying to any of it. Honestly, I think that's...
Yes. Do not entertain this.
Do not. They are messages attempting to guilt trip about the entire family not being able to make it and telling him he's being mean/nasty to his sister by asking her to try to make it in the first place. Then saying, fine, if it's too stressful to come, don't worry about it for real. I would post screenshots if I had them because it's hard to capture just how ridiculous these messages are. We split the 12 invites for ceremony/dinner down the middle, to be fair, 6 on my side and 6 from his. My mom, dad, sister, brother are able to make it. One brother is not. That gives 2 extra seats. And my brother-in-law, who is the father of my sister's kids, is coming. And my other brother-in-law will take my final seat since no one else in my family can make it. And I don't have a huge family to begin with. They're all very excited. Mother-in-law is sending messages to say that it's rude/unfair to allow the brothers-in-law from my side to come. Thank you for all your advice. I was feeling so lost because I couldn't tell if I was being an a-hole since I've never heard his mom yell at my fiance like that. This is like the first time. Fiance has been defending me/our plans, but it's like talking to a brick wall. I can tell now that nothing is wrong with our plans, and they truly are trying to gain control over our wedding entirely. Mother-in-law is still suggesting we cancel everything and move it to a date/location that works best for them, while bashing our current plans as expensive and inconsiderate.
What?
So it's expensive and inconsiderate to invite you to a small wedding, but it's not expensive and inconsiderate for me to have to cancel all my wedding plans that I've already committed to, and all the people that have already bought tickets to cancel all their plans that they've committed to. That's not inconsiderate.
Well, you're missing one thing, is that none of those people who would be put out by changing the wedding are her fiance's mother-in-law.
That's true.
So it
And
doesn't matter.
She is the queen.
It's her wedding.
It's her wedding.
It's her wedding.
It's her. She's
It's
been waiting.
my baby boy's getting married.
She's been waiting.
I
her
want the
whole-
wedding
his
of
whole
my
life.
dreams.
She ignored ignores the fact that moving it to the date and location she prefers would be very difficult and expensive to do, and we would have to start planning again from scratch under a tight time frame. And the tightest time frame that you can always enjoy us in
Every time.
is our lives every weekday at 3 p.m. PST right here on YouTube. Just tap our profile. Fiance asked sister-in-law for final answer about attending to ensure he can invite someone else. Sister-in-law sent a message saying she's concerned about fiance and that we need couples therapy and that I'm trying to drive them apart. /2 controlling. Sister-in-law / mother-in-law have created a narrative that I've invited my family before them and have intentionally tried to make it difficult for them to attend. Brother-in-law has been saying that mother-in-law / sister-in-law are acting crazy and way worse than he thought after mother-in-law called to rant, told us not to appease this behavior either. And that is where this story ends.
And that's the end.
Yeah, I think
some people just can't wrap their heads around not being the center of
attention
or an event.
If I was to say anything, like obviously, to be clear, I think the fiance side of the family is acting incredibly wrongly. I don't think they're doing much right here.
One thing I've learned from reading wedding stories, it's that
they
are full of drama.
My in-laws neglected my husband during his medical struggles, so I'm calling them out. For context, this past year has been incredibly rough. My partner, 28-year-old male, has faced severe medical issues, starting with a random grand mal seizure in January and several heart surgeries in March. Another seizure on vacation out of the country in May, and then needs another surgery in November soon. By the way, this comes from U-Desert Siren on the ROK Storytime subreddit. So thankfully, he's been in good spirits, and while it's been tough, this has made us stronger and more supportive of one another. I've also had medical issues, but nowhere as severe as his. We just want an end to the nightmare because it feels like it's a never-ending series of plot twists every week. Now, I genuinely love my future in-laws. I respect them and want to be an amazing daughter-in-law to their family. However, I have to vent a bit about some of the situations that occurred this year. They come from a very different culture. And while I love trying new things and learning more about his culture and showing him mine, there's a lot that happened where I feel my partner deserves better from them. Here are some examples. They invited strangers to what was supposed to be his birthday dinner last year, causing him to back out, and then they got mad at him when he told them he's not coming anymore because he didn't want to have strangers at his birthday dinner.
Fair.
That is fair.
I don't want
Like they
strangers
just
at my
met
birthday
these
party.
like random people on the street. They're like, "Come to my son's birthday party."
Yeah.
Despite his financial struggles with medical bills, to which thank goodness he has insurance because otherwise he'd be almost $2 million in medical debt. Medical debt. His parents haven't contributed anything to him. And yes, we know not to expect it because it's not our money and not our choice, but even his biological mom from another country sends money every month. My parents paid for one of his entire ER visits out of the country. It just feels like everyone but them are contributing in some ways to keep my partner from drowning in his bills because he still owes an amount that's significant to him. My partner has developed a long-time hatred for Christmas.
Aw.
How?
Why?
Christmas is great.
Why?
I love Christmas. This Jew loves Christmas. And when he opened up to me about it last year, he told me he thinks it's because his parents always gave him crappy, cheap gifts.
Aw.
I mean, there's worse ways. There's worse things to ruin Christmas.
But you know, if they're like giving you like old socks and you're like,
it's not the end of the world.
not the end of the world, but it is heartbreaking as a child to get really bad gifts.
Yeah. Last year, they got him a 12-pack of Oreos.
That's pretty messed up.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
While his dad received expensive shirts and cologne. Then they had the nerve to tell him, you need to lose weight after giving those to him.
Like, okay, we'll take those back, thanks.
Yeah,
Why'd you get him Oreos?
We just wanted to see what your reaction
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
And
you were
We're
obviously-
gonna eat
testing
those?
you. Unbelievable.
Yeah, child test, you
Those
failed.
are double stuff.
We are grateful for whatever we get, and I go in not expecting any gifts, but I personally feel like they don't really know us sometimes with the gifts we've gotten in the past. I'm someone who loves a sentimental gift, even if it's a 50-cent necklace or something handmade. We just feel like there isn't much thought that goes into our gift.
Yeah, into an Oreo?
Maybe
Oreos?
he really loved Oreos as a kid.
Clearly not.
When my partner was hospitalized, his parents were on vacation out of the country. Even though my parents and I were all there with him, that wasn't the issue. The issue came when we would update them over the phone, and then they would start stressing him out about the cost of a hospital stay. And if he really needed a brain/cardiac MRI, because it's going to be super expensive instead of prioritizing his health. Mind you, the doctor said he had a near fatal cardiac episode. Jeez. When the seizure happened and his parents legitimately said, oh, it's not that serious. He'll be okay. We're not that worried.
Oh my God.
Are they understanding? I mean, obviously they're not
Like, we gave him an Oreo. Don't worry.
He has the
He's
Oreo.
fine.
Yeah, he just needs to lose weight.
This is like the parents in the other story. They're like, he's alive. He's crying, so he's fine.
Like, I'm over here having meltdowns because I had to help him through his seizure, roll him to his side.
Oh.
Jeez, I can't even imagine how scary that is. And call 911 and everything, and I'm by myself dealing with this, and you have the nerve to tell me it's not that serious. His stepmom constantly comments on how lucky he is to have me and what he would do without me, which at first was like, well, I'm not going to have him. But after many times of her saying that, starts to feel like she doesn't respect him as a mature, responsible adult. They all work together in a family business. One time, they placed tasks on his desk without asking, hey, can you please do these for us? And when he called them out for not showing basic respect and asking him please, they sent him home from work / treated him like a child being sent to their room.
Oh my God.
These are the main incidents I can remember, but the latest situation has me pretty infuriated, and I can't tell if I'm expecting too much from his parents or not. What I'm noticing is like some of these are like huge, really serious, like ruptures and like awful things they're doing, and some of them feel like really like petty,
really
like,
small,
like really small and kind of irrelevant.
But I think that it's probably for OP. It just feels like these
just
building, and you have like these big things, and then it's like, it makes the small things even
Sure.
feel even bigger because you're already annoyed at them.
Yeah. Like I was going back in that whole list, I was like, well, that's not even that bad, and then
Yeah.
they did like a really bad thing. I was like, whoa. And then there was another thing. I was like, why are you including that?
Yeah, I feel like it's just like to OP, it probably feels much bigger because it's
just like everything is
stacking
triggered, for sure.
Yeah.
After a second seizure in late May, we have a law that states patients who had this kind of seizure cannot drive for 3 months. While his stepmom and I have been driving him to and from work, he often has to Uber when we're unable to, which gets really expensive with the traffic we have near our place. One day, when I realized he had to pay $70 for Uber, I asked why his dad couldn't drive him. My partner simply said his dad didn't want to. I don't know if it's entitled of me, but it feels infuriating how his dad prioritizes his own comfort over helping his son who's beyond stressed with financials. So when I was trying to communicate how I was feeling to my partner, and I definitely know I was an a-hole for this, I said to my partner in the heat of my anger that his dad was being a fat, lazy B for not stepping up as a dad to help his son.
Ooh, I don't know if you can. It's tricky because it's like that's his dad, and like you can think that and it could be true and it seems like it's kind of true, but you definitely have to be careful about how you talk about people's parents.
Yeah, and I get you're protective over your partner. You're seeing that his parents aren't treating him right, and you're upset. And the moment you say something, also it's not good.
Yeah,
but it seems like OP knows that.
Yeah.
The next line is, yeah, I know.
Okay, so everything's
we're
fine.
all on the same page.
Okay,
Was not the right move.
Oh, I thought that was the husband's. Okay.
No.
So OP was saying, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Not my finest hour for sure. My partner wasn't too happy. I called his dad a B, and after apologizing because I know that was crossing a line a bit, he did agree that my underlying point was valid. He was like, hey, don't call him that, but like you're kind of right.
Hey, but yeah.
He says we shouldn't feel entitled to their time or efforts, but that it sucks. His dad isn't really trying to help while the rest of us are doing everything possible to help. And if you want to help us, if you want to help yourself, you could tune into live episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify or your favorite podcast app and search OK Story Time. And there's another relevant update, but let's discuss.
Yeah, these people, the thing is like when there's people in your life who just consistently show that they're not going to show up for you, it sucks, but it's like you can't force them to show up for you. You just have to realize, maybe they're not meant to be in my life.
You can't force them to show up for you, but you can express your disappointment and your anger and a desire for them to help out more. Yeah. Without demanding it. I think there's a lot of room for that.
I think that have they not had that conversation yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, as what we know, it hasn't been made clear that they've had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're just consistently being let down, and then OP is just getting angry to their partner or to themselves.
Yeah. So maybe it's like bring that conversation up, and then if they don't, you can't do much.
Yeah. But there's a lot of room to have that conversation before just assuming that they'll never be there.
Sure.
So I was raised so that my family and my parents would do anything to help me. While our backgrounds and cultures are different, I still feel like his parents should step up and respect him more. I really want to stand up for him without ruining the relationship, and we agreed. We refuse to resent each other's family because we do love the other, and we know how in-laws can ruin relationships if there's resentment. After reading many Reddit stories, very true. This is a good promise. So we communicate well, and I try to stay on the same page, but am I overstepping in my expectations? Am I going crazy? I really want to do what's right. I do have a great relationship with his parents, and we never argue, and I will absolutely back off if I'm expecting too much of them, but I'm not totally convinced that I am. Thank you all, and stay healthy.
I think all you can do is kind of help your partner feel comfortable to go talk to his parents. I feel like you can like say like, hey, you're right in feeling like they're not, helping you out enough. Just have a conversation with them and give him the courage to do that.
I think another big factor here, and OP even mentioned it, is that different contexts, different culture, different families. And so again, family to OP means we always help out.
Yeah.
Family to other people might not mean that. We might love each other, we might care for each other, but we might not be as dependent on each other and helping out with finances. And that doesn't show that that's a bad family. It's just that they approach relationships different.
Shanice Moore says, what about asking them for help instead of expecting them to?
Yeah.
Which goes into just communication.
Yeah, it goes into that there's just different contexts, especially on like what family means.
Yeah.
And so it's one thing for OP to be like getting upset and like putting her expectations over her husband and their family and getting mad at the husband and their family. And it's another for OP's husband himself to be upset. And then from there, there's a lot of room to communicate like, hey, like I'm struggling and I'm feeling upset that you're not helping. Can you help? Is that possible?
I think that's a fair ask. My mother-in-law took my baby pictures without permission, so I told them to give it back.
Give it back. No.
Give it here. I honestly don't even know where to start. I, 38 female, have been with my husband, 32 male, for 5.5 years. Married for 3 years. We have a 2.5-year-old daughter and a 6-month-old son. I always knew mother-in-law was pretty high on the bad crazy scale, but this newest situation takes the cake for me. By the way, this comes from Smallest Hydra on the OK Storytime subreddit. So I actually have another post about her, and I'll leave the link if you want. But to make an incredibly long story short, she has ruined almost everything she has been involved with, treats us like children, and doesn't respect us in the slightest. That being said, let's get to the matter at hand. When our house was being renovated in 2022, shortly after our daughter was born, we moved in with my in-laws until the renovation was finished. During that time, which was also hell, I brought over my personal baby pictures for some family members to see how alike my daughter and I were. I don't know why, but I ended up leaving the photo album there once we moved. I wasn't concerned about it because why would anything happen to it? It was on a nice credenza with other photos. Now, aside from these being my baby pictures, most of them do not have duplicates or negatives to make copies of. I have digitized some, but not all. About 12 years ago, my family's photos were stored in my parents' basement when the basement flooded, and we lost nearly all of them. I decided that year for Christmas, with my parents' permission, I would distribute each of the siblings, 5 of us, baby photos in a personalized book, with mom and dad choosing which ones they wanted to keep first. Everyone loved it.
That's nice.
I'm going to be honest, if I had lost all my stuff in a flood, I would immediately digitize all the remaining photos. I would do that before I gave it out to anyone.
Sure, that makes sense.
Especially
if there's no duplicates.
No, especially if there's no duplicates and you already lost all those. I would absolutely digitize those. We've had a lot of issues with mother-in-law as of late, to the point where we had to have a come to Jesus meeting with her and father-in-law to make them understand how we've been feeling about their, mostly her, behavior.
What's a come to Jesus conversation?
They're like, hey, you need to change your act.
I've never heard that phrase.
Yeah. It's been a few weeks since then, and things are still tense, but have gotten better. We are moving next week and have asked mother-in-law to bring photo album over to us or for us to come get it several times, and she did not reply to us regarding it. Uh-oh.
Scary.
We went over there for Labor Day dinner, and I grabbed it from the credenza, so I didn't forget to bring it home. Father-in-law stopped me and said, oh, hey, there are some pictures mixing from there. We're getting photocopies of them. I looked and realized there were paper copies in place of the kissing photos, something I hadn't noticed when looking at it earlier. I was stunned and just said, oh, okay, thinking they were making the copies at home. Mother-in-law said, you're our daughter-in-law. We wanted some pictures of you. Seems a bit odd, as no one has ever done this before in the history of human existence, and the woman has hundreds of pictures of me from the past 5 years, but okay.
I've never heard of like a parent-in-law is like, I want baby photos of our daughter-in-law.
I
was going to say, Did they flood the house?
Yeah.
Like we don't want any traces of you.
Yeah.
I asked them to let me know when they were done so that I could pack it. I didn't really think about it anymore until the next day, and the weirdness set in, and I realized I was pissed. Even my husband has never heard of an in-law having their child's spouse's baby pictures just because.
And going through the effort to
Yeah.
photocopy. It's like one thing to receive it.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm
gonna take it to a
Yeah.
studio and copy them.
If it were for a baby shower or wedding or some other kind of occasion, cool, but at least ask first. Well, I tried to let it go and was feeling better about it when I asked my husband to have his mom bring the album when she comes over tomorrow. She told him the photos were sent away to a company in another town to have actual photo duplicates made. I'm a black girl and I felt myself turn white with rage. Not only had this woman taken my photos without asking, she sent them to a third party, replaced them with paper copies clearly from her printer, and probably thought I wouldn't notice.
Well, yeah, I don't understand the replacing with paper photos because the father-in-law immediately told them about it.
Yeah, it's like, what? And I don't know. This is weird. I'm like, maybe you should have taken the paper photos. She had to create a profile with this third party and paid money for them to be copied onto photo paper, all without my knowledge or consent. At no point in this process did she stop and think, I should probably ask permission to do this. Oh no. She tried to cover her tracks by refusing to acknowledge our request for her to bring the album and replacing the photos with paper ones. When I questioned my husband about this, he said she told him the photos won't be ready until next Monday, then she would bring it over. I said absolutely not, and that she needed to cancel that order and bring them to me ASAP, and if she didn't go get them, we would. He sent it, and as of about an hour ago, she still has not replied. But she messed up in telling him where they are, so if she doesn't get them by tomorrow, I'm gonna get them myself. I also told him that if she argues with him, she can call me, which at this point she knows is not a good idea, especially if I have to go get them myself.
I'm happy to have a OP who is a woman who is like the one that has no issue standing up for themselves.
Yeah, she's like, nah, I'm gonna go get those.
Like usually in these stories,
Yeah.
if OP is a woman and they're like being disrespected by their their family-in-law, it's usually like talking to their partner, like, can you please help? Like, I'm too scared to talk to them.
He's like, no.
But OP was like, not okay. Give it to me right now.
Give it here.
It's refreshing. I like it.
This may seem trivial to some people, but those photos are very special to me, and I just don't understand. Has anyone else dealt with this kind of thing? And there is an update here, but dang. Yeah. No, I think you're good for you standing up for yourself. They shouldn't be taking your photos without your permission and copying them. That's strange.
Do you think,
yes,
even though it was a terrible miscommunication or no communication whatsoever, do you think they took the photos to try and get her copies to like, oh, we are preserving your photos, you know?
I don't know, but that should have been...
From what they communicated, it was like,
like it.
We want
It didn't
the
seem like it,
photos.
no. But like, again, like it was really poor. Like it was trying to be maybe be like a surprise. I don't know.
But yeah, the way it was communicated was like, we want some photos of you.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know. Like, what's the reasoning of why you really took those photos? There's no way you like, oh, we took those photos because we needed photos of our, daughter-in-law.
I think it's strange, but I don't think it would be the weirdest thing.
But they were like, also, aren't they like baby photos or something like that?
Yeah, they're all baby
photos of OP.
Yeah,
which is why it's like so strange.
Why do you need baby photos?
It's not like wedding photos or
It's
anything.
strange, but
Yeah.
again, I think like it's not the craziest thing.
It's not,
like,
no,
it
it's
feels
not the
like
craziest thing, but it's just
extremely
like
odd.
It's just it's not. I wouldn't say it's like insane. It's just rude.
It's rude
Yeah.
to not ask permission because you're handling someone's photos
That
and
they
you're
only have
sending
one
them
of.
away.
Yes.
And
Not asking.
you're getting copies of them when they're not yours.
Yeah. But there is an update.
Okay.
She started this process on August 10th. So for nearly a month now, this photo lab has had my pictures and she said nothing about it. Whoa. So,
wait.
it's not, so basically it's not even been like a couple days. Like she just sent them out. They've been out
Wait, can you go back?
for a month. The mother-in-law started the process on August 10th. And it's been a month that these photos have been out to the lab.
So it's just like a slow lab.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. But like OP's just finding out about it
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point. The good news is that the photos are about ready to be picked up today, as apparently she called and had them rushed after my husband talked to her yesterday. But a month, she had so many opportunities to include me in this process, yet refused to do so. And she is still ignoring my husband and I. I'm so glad we're moving away from her toxic, sneaky self. By the way, I would never want you guys to move away from listening to full episodes of stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story, and I think we've thought our thoughts.
We've thought our thoughts.
Let's get into it. Update 2. I got the book back.
Hey.
Woo! Nice. All the pictures included, thankfully. Father-in-law dropped off the photo album last night and gave a half-hearted apology, saying they should have asked first.
I should have asked.
I didn't have the energy to question him. I just said, yeah, you should have, and took the album. Meanwhile, mother-in-law is ignoring me and my husband and hasn't apologized herself. I have half a kind to just tell her not to come and help us move next week. I want her to at least be on okay enough terms for her to say bye to the kids, but the last time she did talk to me, she mildly chastised me about how far away we'll be. It's 3 hours by car, 2.5 if you go at the right time. I'm just so done with both mother-in-law and father-in-law, and I'm very glad to be leaving them and their guilt-ridden shenanigans behind. And that is the end of that story. But yeah, good for you for standing up for yourself and getting your photos back.
For sure. And also, I don't think they did like the crazy. It was for sure rude.
It wasn't
to
like
not
the
include you
insanest thing.
in the process,
Yeah.
to not communicate, to not ask your permission. I don't think it was like the craziest thing.
No.
But hopefully, when the mom is probably just dealing with like guilt or just emotions at like being called out.
Yeah.
And so hopefully when those calm down,
She'll be
she
like,
could
sorry.
like look with fresh eyes and be like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. So hopefully she could give like an actual apology.
But let's get into this next story.
My mother-in-law threw a tantrum at our wedding, so now we won't let her near our baby.
If you gotta act like a baby, you can't be near the baby.
Me, 25 female, and my husband, 23 male, got married this past January. We had a beautiful winter-themed wedding with pine garlands, gold accents, and even snow for our send-off. Our wedding went off without a hitch and was absolutely gorgeous. We were happy and so in love.
Congrats.
By the way, this comes from Junior Reindeer 18 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the only thing about our wedding day that was sour was a look on my mother-in-law and father-in-law's faces the entire day. We literally have a picture of me happily walking down the aisle, and in the background, my father-in-law looks like he wants to pass me. Mother-in-law was not in the camera view, but people told me she also looked this way.
So weird.
They proceeded not to talk to us the entire day. This was a happenstance that me and my husband were doing our rounds, and we happened to bump into them as they left our reception. My husband pettily held out his hand to his dad, and his dad curtly said congratulations. His mom kept walking while opening the door to exit. She looked back and snottily said, "I hope you're happy." So yeah, they were very supportive. Why, you ask, were things like this? Me and my husband decided together only weeks before our wedding that my mother-in-law would not light the unity candle before the service.
The unity. Okay, wait.
For those unfamiliar about the
That's
unity
me.
candle, a unity candle at a wedding is 3 candles placed at the altar. The idea for 2 people of the bride and groom's choosing to light 1 candle, then during the ceremony, the bride and groom light the middle candle with the single candles and blow theirs out to signify their unity.
Oh, that's kind of lovely.
It is common that people choose their mothers to do this, but it is obviously up to the bride and groom. Our desire was for both our mothers to light the candles. Just a little fun fact for later, when I initially told my mother-in-law about our desire for her to light the candle, she whined profusely and acted like I needed to talk her into it. So what happened that we would revoke the privilege of lighting the candles? Hold on to your seat. There were so many details, and I honestly could write a book about all the crap we had to put up with in our only 3-month engagement. To put it simply, my mother-in-law lost her mind when she realized that her precious baby boy was actually going to move out and get married. She demanded that we come over to her house for dinner every other day. I was still living with my family and my fiance with his, or else she would literally cry and act like she was neglected.
Oh my God. She just sounds like a nightmare.
We put up with this for months, alongside her also being emotionally and verbally abusive to my fiance. It caused a lot of stress between us because my fiance literally thought this behavior was normal. I strongly disagreed. Well, 2 weeks after Christmas, me and my fiance were off work, so we spent every spare moment we could redoing our house. This started a downhill spiral that resulted in her sending a text message to my fiance that said, "Just letting you know, we will not be hosting or paying for the rehearsal dinner. We will also not be able to attend."
Don't let her light that candle. Keep that candle away from her.
You let her light that candle, you're burning your marriage.
Yeah, your marriage is burning to the ground.
Love is like a fire. It can consume you or it can keep you warm.
That's beautiful.
I just came up with that.
That's beautiful. It's very nice.
Holy cow. Wow. I'm writing that on the top of my book.
Love is like
Love
a
is like
fire.
My fiance handled it very well and said that we would take care of it, but we still wanted him there. She then said that he didn't want them there and that he had abandoned his family and that they were all heartbroken. The next day, he tried to go over to his parents' house to talk to them, and you'll never guess what had happened. My mother-in-law literally ran up to my fiance and punched him repeatedly in the chest while screaming that he was an effing jerk.
Oh my God. These are nightmare parents that, like, you honestly should cut off contact with.
My father-in-law soon joined her by hurling verbal abuses at their son. An argument ensued as my fiance tried to explain to them that they had made our engagement so stressful that he was just trying his best to make the transaction easy for them. They were still hearing from him every day at this point, and they would not hear this. Holy cow.
Dang.
Arrest.
Yeah.
You arrest your mother?
Probably.
Dude.
I mean, you can arrest anyone.
Charge if they're guilty.
Yeah. Going to jail.
Dude, that is wild. Oh, she's so manipulative, dude. My mother-in-law told my fiance that she was praying that we broke up. Keep in mind, this is 3 weeks before our marriage, and that she would object to our wedding. She called me a psychopath effing B-word and a master manipulator.
Look in a mirror.
I think there was a mirror in between you and her.
I think she was looking in a mirror when she was saying all that stuff.
Apparently, I had been scheming to destroy their family and tear her precious baby boy from her clutches. LOL. Long story short, they never apologized for anything they said to my fiance, anything they said about me, or on top of that, or the things that they did to your fiance.
I mean, yeah, the literal like punching his chest.
We both decided that my mother-in-law should not light the unity candle.
Yeah.
As she was not unified with us.
She freaking hates you guys.
Well, 5 days before our wedding, they showed up at my fiance's house. He had moved out of their house a month before. And my father-in-law told my fiance that if you let another woman light that candle, it will destroy your mother. My fiance promised that he wouldn't replace her, meaning that we would not put another woman up there. Our solution was to just have my mom light both candles so as to not draw attention to the fact that mother-in-law was not up there. Well, mother-in-law didn't like this arrangement. Who would have guessed? And to this day, she said that my husband chose a new mom, because she let my mom light the unity candle. We have tried to explain to her over and over that we did what we thought was best under the circumstances and that we weren't trying to hurt her. She does not believe us and calls us liars because
we knew it would pass her away.
Sometimes you got really exhausting people in your lives like this who just want to make everything about themselves and just like ignore her. Go have a good wedding. And let your OP's mom light that candle and don't give this mother another thought.
Dude, the entitlement that's happening here.
So entitled.
The freaking audacity of this witch. This is crazy.
Boiling over because of this audacity.
We would have been married for 9 months now, and we just tried to talk to my mother-in-law a few weeks ago about this. And guess how we went?
Badly.
It resulted in her screaming at us because she believes we are just trying to hurt her.
You know what? Yeah.
So we should have just let her light the dumb candle thing. Me and my husband and everyone but my mother-in-law and father-in-law think we made the right choice. And you can make the easy right choice when you go live with us every weekday at when, Sophia?
3 p.m. PST.
And where can they join us?
Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube.
And how do you do that?
Just tap our profile.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, dude. Low contact.
Low contact, for sure.
No,
I mean,
actually,
the fact that they're like screaming at you every time this comes up.
No contact.
No contact. Is this? I mean, like low or no contact. One of those needs to be the decision.
I'm pushing no contact because if you're like punching your kid,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
And they can't even stand the sight of your wife, and your partner.
No. I wouldn't want to be around those people.
Heck no. Looking back, I think we should have told them not to come to the wedding.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's too far. Frankly,
honestly, I don't think it's fine.
No. After that freaking response, frankly, I think it's funny. She's still crying about it 9 months later. This poor victim baby has never been held accountable for her actions. And it's pretty ironic that her son and daughter-in-law are the first to tell her that the world doesn't revolve around her. We are expecting our first baby now, and me and my husband will not be allowing her anywhere near the baby until she seeks counseling. There's the baby. Okay, here's the real baby. But
oh, there is a baby.
Yeah, because, dude.
Don't let her near the baby.
She's going to come crawling back.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let me see the
baby. No.
Oh, my gosh.
Nuh-uh. Not with this baby. Terrible, terrible people.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Terrible.
But we have another story for you, lovely people.
And we're going to get into it.
My mother-in-law demands my twin sister not be in town when she visits. I still invited her anyway. That's my twin.
My twin.
That's my twin.
What's up, twin?
For a little background, I, 27 female, have a twin sister, also 27 female. We are very close, and she is my best friend in every way. After high school, we went different ways as we had different career plans. I studied physical therapy in Florida, and she studied finance at a university close to where we grew up. By the way, this comes from user AdventurousHoney944 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my husband, 28 male, joined the army, and because of this, I've been away from home for about 7 years. I lived in Italy for 2.5 years, in which I hardly saw her, and due to COVID, I couldn't visit her much either. The military has now taken us to Japan for about 3 years. We don't want to live our lives apart from each other, so we decided each year to take turns making trips to visit one another.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's nice. That's a twin thing to do.
Yeah.
That's my twin.
It's
Also,
twinning, baby.
cool military locations.
Yeah, you're winning.
That's
You're up
dope.
on the military
Yeah,
location.
You could like be in a military base like somewhere random in the U.S.
Yeah.
You're getting the world tour.
Yeah. Since flights are expensive, we stay for an extended period of usually around 1 or 2 months during the summer.
That's awesome.
I understand that can be a lot to ask our spouses to be okay with. We invite our husbands out on our adventures, but they usually decline anyway to stay home and play video games. There's a couple of real men's men right there.
Couldn't game with them.
I couldn't relate to not hanging out with my girlfriend and playing video games. I could never relate to that.
Not at all.
I don't know what that's about.
What's a game?
Anyway, we're both very emotional people and like to use this to make up for lost time. Basically, we do everything we would have liked to do throughout the year during this time instead. My sister tends to stay longer with me since we've done everything in our hometown, and I'm in Japan, where there's significantly more to do. Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
That also just sounds like a month in Japan sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
2 months in Japan, dude.
And also, I feel like this time is probably more memorable and packed with new experience than if you had like just lived together. Like this is super intentional time. This is great.
When I stay with her at her place, her husband has no issue with hosting me whatsoever. If she's happy, he's genuinely happy for her. Of course, boundaries are set, such as not being allowed in the master bedroom or to give each other privacy with our significant others and not touching their belongings without permission. We set those boundaries in my house as well. When at each other's houses, we help out with chores, groceries, and pay for our own meals, which is a simple request. This year, it was my twin's turn to come back to Japan. I really want her to be here and enjoy my last summer in Japan. My husband said that he's okay with it, but he never seems to actually be okay with her presence or my family and always makes unwelcoming remarks to them.
Unwelcoming remarks like, you're not welcome here?
Yeah, like I would assume something along those lines. My husband asked that my family not visit when his family is here per his mom's request, as his family was coming at the end of summer. We got a big mama's boy alert. Mama's boy conspiracy. This guy's just going to be a total mama's boy. His family was coming at the end of the summer, and my husband had originally told me that it would be his mom, sister, and significant other, and his brother and significant other who are coming to stay with us. So that's 5 people.
And for how long is it? Is it the entire 2 months?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay.
My family came, my mother, brother, and sister, and her husband at the beginning of the summer for 2 weeks and have already left per husband's request, except for my twin, who's staying longer, which my husband knew about. Here is where I might be the a-hole. Me thinking, well, it's just one person. What's the big deal if my twin is here when his family is here? After all, I've seen his mom treat his brother and sister's significant others like family and invite them to dinner, concerts, and go with them on cruises, etc. But she does not do the same thing with me or my siblings or try to make me feel like family. She is my twin after all. So I told my sister that she could stay. My husband got very upset with me, reminding me that he asked my family not to be here as he did not want to upset his mom. He told his mom about my twin staying, and his mom got very angry, asking, "Why is she here?" and called my husband's brother and sister about what I've done. He told me that there are going to be too many people staying at our house, his mom, sister, brother, and both of their significant others. And now is telling me that his mom had also invited his brother's girlfriend's sister and brother to come on the trip too. But nobody told me. So the significant other's siblings.
That's a full, hopefully they have a big enough place for that.
So nobody told me that there would be, 7 people coming instead of 5.
Which is a total miscommunication on the husband's part.
Right.
Right? Because she should know who's coming into her house.
Exactly.
Because it's her house.
Right. After all, I live here too.
Yeah.
And this information should not have been omitted.
Agreed.
I did not know his mom invited my husband's brother's girlfriend's siblings to my home in Japan for their graduation trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you gonna invite that husband's girlfriend's brother's sibling? Like, what?
I feel like they're both doing the same thing to each other. She's not telling him that her sister's staying, and he's not telling her that there's more people coming.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels like they're both. And again, chat, tell me if I'm wrong here, because I know you will. But it feels like they're kind of doing this, like the same negative act towards each other, and there's not enough communication on both sides right now.
Both sides. His mom is extremely upset with me for messing up their trip, but she didn't tell me or talk to me about this at all, and my husband knew my sister intended on staying longer than my other family, but omitted that his mom invited these extra people to stay here. Now there's more people going to stay at my house than what I had previously believed. I know that my husband asked me not to have any family here, but why is my mother-in-law allowed to bring my husband's brother's girlfriend's siblings to stay at my house, and my own twin is not allowed? So am I the a-hole? And there's a little bit of extra info here. 2 years ago, when my twin came to visit me, my husband's family accidentally scheduled their trip at the same time, even though I told my husband what dates my twin had bought her tickets for at the beginning of the year. My husband's family insisted on using my car, and they did not allow me to go pick up my sister from the airport, and she ended up having to walk from the airport to my house in the night with her husband, as she has never even been here before and did not know what to do as everything was closed. Extra info. This is not the first time my mother-in-law has done something like this. I had in the past invited my mother-in-law to dinner. She brought my father-in-law, sister-in-laws, and her boyfriend, brother-in-law, and his girlfriend.
They're squatting up.
Right.
They got everyone.
Mother-in-law is like, oh, we're going to dinner? You mean we're going to dinner? The extended family. Yeah. I paid for the dinner as it was my invite, and she was still upset with me that I brought my twin without telling her. But I also did not know she was bringing my brother-in-law and sister-in-law significant others, and I had no problem, nor did I make a big deal paying for them. I'm the only one married into the family of her children's significant others. My husband also expects me to serve and care for his family, like doing the cleaning and cooking, while they're here, but gives my family the cold shoulder when they're here and hides in our room. He also tells me I should learn to live without my family, which breaks my heart as my family is very close-knit.
Wait.
And a third edit.
Hey, this
dude, no way.
That is crazy.
Learn to live without your family?
So someone in the chat was like, it seems like he might be trying to isolate you from your family. That is direct proof.
Yeah, that is like a big flashing neon sign screaming, abandon your family. Do not speak with your do not be with your family.
Wow.
I am your family now.
Wow.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the family now. Okay. Here's the next edit. This is getting suspicious. Thank you so much for all the feedback and responses. This has really been an eye-opener for me. To clarify, I should have mentioned this in the original post of my apologies. Location, ages, and professions were altered to keep people anonymous. There was a lot of feedback regarding licenses in Japan. I didn't think about this earlier. My husband and I are from the same cultural background. The apartment we live in is only a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath in an expensive area.
Wait. Wait.
They're gonna fit.
They have a 2-bedroom place, and they're going to fit like 6 extra people in their place. Am I
7, 8 actually?
Am I tripping? Or an OP is supposed to cook for all those people and clean for all those people?
Yeah, that's.
Am I?
The red flags are
Wait.
waving real strong right now.
That seems absolutely crazy.
That's unhinged to expect one person to take care of 8 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, I wonder how long they're going to stay. Maybe they weren't staying for that long. But even still, like,
so,
that's a lot to take care of.
even so. Okay, so all right. Is there more?
I mean, yeah. Well, there's an update.
Okay.
Well, let's find out what happens next. Here's the update. I want to go ahead and update everyone. I told my husband about the post, and it didn't go well. He was very upset with me and did not want to read the post or comments. All he did was repeatedly say, "Why would you do that to me?" and stare at me. So I had left and stayed at a friend's house for a couple hours. He said he's not interested in what the post had to say and to drop it. Oof. The next day, he went to military counseling and told his counselor about what I did and cried. The counselor recommended marriage counseling, so I'm happy he's open to that. But the way he victimized himself and said he was the perfect husband to me kind of put me off. Yeah, because you're not the perfect husband, dude.
You are so far from the perfect husband.
You are like a tiny blip in the distance in terms of how far away you are from being the perfect husband.
You must have a very, very low bar.
Yeah.
And I worry who your model husbands look like.
Definitely not like Ryan Gosling.
Oh, dang.
Regarding where the guests are to stay, I originally planned on 3 guests staying in the living room on an air mattress and the large couch I have, and 2 in the upstairs office on an air mattress. They're planning on being here for 9 days. I now am not so sure about what to do with all these guests, and I will leave that up to him.
So much.
Yeah, well, if he wants to be controlling, he can control that. I plan to stay with my neighbor who's a good friend while his family's here.
Wait,
okay.
OP is getting kicked out of the house.
Okay. No, that was her prerogative.
Oh.
She's like, I'm leaving. I'm staying with
I know, because there's no
there.
room for her. Oh, OP.
I decided to take everyone's advice and I'll go on some adventures with my twin.
Also, thank God your twin is there, because you're being isolated from like everyone. Imagine how much it would suck to be in this hotel room all by yourself, like basically thrown out of your own house.
Yeah, well, at least you don't have to cook and clean for 9 people.
Yeah, and, if you're in a hotel room all by yourself, you can meditate.
Yeah, for an hour. His contract here ends in a few months, and then we will go back to the U.S. Luckily, I'm not in a financially dependent state with my husband, and I have a career in which I can support myself. We
go.
love an independent, strong woman. This isn't the first time that he made rules for me, but not for him. He is very computer science smart, and I'm not. A little over a year ago, he had made it where I had restricted access to certain websites such as TikTok and Pinterest. He said that this was for my mental health and computer safety, and I just thought that this applied to him too. He strictly told me that pornography was cheating, and I better not be ever watching it as he has Christian values. But one day when he thought I went to work in the morning, I caught him in his office with multiple screens of pornography open.
Multiple screens?
That's,
man's like day trading corn.
It's the shame.
He's in the Matrix.
Oh, the shame. I have been with him since middle school. Oh, that explains a lot. And am having a hard time letting this go. He says he doesn't know what he's doing wrong, but that he tries very hard, but I can't help but think that he is far from it. Yeah, this guy is like, He knows what he's doing wrong.
Also, really quick,
Why-
if you're on multiple screens, this is not like a once in a while habit.
Yeah,
like if
that's-
you're on multiple screens,
This guy had to go to like page 8.
yeah, you're cranking it. You're cranking it to like some
Professional-
like weirder
a
and weirder.
professional cranker.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's
Come
like, I'll
on.
save this one for later, and I'll do that one for later.
It's like he's got multiple screens, but his eyes, he's like going chicken-eyed. So he's
Yeah.
like looking at one on the left and then looking at one on the right. Can I do that?
He has some chameleon eyes.
Yeah, he's
you're doing well.
chameleon eyeing.
Yeah.
By the way, you can join us with your chameleon eyes every weekday when we go live on YouTube at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. So there's a little bit left
Played
here,
in
but
schools.
I think let's consolidate our thoughts on OP's husband.
I mean, this
Together
guy,
since middle school, dude.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
think
part of
she
why
doesn't
he's so
know.
controlling.
Yeah, she doesn't know how bad it is. And I think what's
Right.
great, though, this is silver lining, is she is finally understanding through the power of submitting a story to the World Wide
Power
Web.
of the internet.
Power of the internet. And people being like, girl, run!
Yeah, being like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Run.
This is all wrong.
But yeah, this seems like a divorce territory, but she doesn't know it yet.
100%. Yeah, because she's been dating him since middle school.
My conspiracy theory is she's going to get really great advice from Reddit, and she's going to make some changes.
Yeah. I hope she leaves this guy and moves in with her twin.
I hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Get out of here.
I wonder what the twins' advice would be.
Oh,
Run.
I wonder.
Run.
I hope so.
I don't know if there's any saving this relationship, and we'll keep you guys updated so she is aware immediately.
Good.
He doesn't even do the bare minimum and doesn't help around the house with chores. He leaves his clothes on the floor and dirty dishes, cans / empty chip bags everywhere. He isn't affectionate towards me, and he treats me like a roommate. He doesn't reciprocate my love for him, and I now know I need to walk away.
Let's go. I love this realization.
Yeah.
This is great.
I'm starting to ramble. I'll post another update when mother-in-law comes to visit. Thanks, you guys, for all your responses and concerns. I will definitely take them into consideration. And that is the end of that story. We do not have an update. Keon, do we have another update?
I'll check right now.
We got another update.
We got an update from the sister's perspective.
Yeah, the twin.
Oh,
That's my twin.
You got it? Is it there?
Twinner, yes.
Yes.
Winner, twinning dinner.
Go
All
back.
right,
Go for it.
here we go. New update. Hey, everybody. Thank you for all the comments and advice left on the previous post. To be honest, this is the twin sister of the OP. It's my account. I had originally been posting on behalf of her so she could see how her husband was in the wrong. It was the twin the whole time. And we
she
couldn't
was
even tell because they're such
orchestrating it.
twins.
Mm.
They're twinning. After still receiving some requests for an update, I decided that I'll go ahead and do so. Let's just say me and my sister agreed to disagree on what was to happen and what did happen after her mother-in-law and the rest of her husband's family showed up. I can't say I was disappointed because, well, it's not like they haven't left me feeling this way before. Her neighbors seemed to agree with me on my side of the story. Basically, what happened was as soon as his family showed up, she began to cater to them. I ended up staying a few nights alone at her neighbor's house. She was really kind and friendly towards me, as I think she kind of felt bad my sister let me down, as she expected both of us to be there. The neighbor also agreed that my sister's husband would never do what she does for him and his family. Not to mention, when my sister did come over to the neighbor's house, she overheard the way that he talks to her when no one else is listening. It was a few months ago, but it was something along the lines of, "Get the F over here. I want you here with my family." He's a whole other person when he thinks no one's listening, which scares me. But my sister claims that he's all bark and no bite.
I don't
know about that,
be
sister. She's
around that bark though.
Your husband's in the military, so I would assume he can bite.
Yeah.
They kind of train them to do that.
That is literally, he is a killing machine.
That's his job.
That's his job.
His job is to be able to bite. My sister claims that she thought we were just going to stay together and sleep in her upstairs bedroom, on the floor, or in the linen closet. And when his family wasn't doing anything, we would chill up there and watch Netflix and work on some crafts together. So that's what we ended up doing the rest of the nights there. I clearly remember planning to stay together at her neighbor's house, but I let it go. His family used his car, and we did not go out on our own adventures that last week his family was there. I spoke to my mom and she told me to just stay positive until I go home, to make the best of the situation and to try to enjoy the last week there with my sister despite everything. My sister did force them to squeeze some room for me in their truck so I could go with them on some of the more exciting activities like visiting Kualoa Ranch, swimming in the Ko'olaina Lagoons, and eating in Waikiki. What? Were they in Hawaii?
They're going everywhere.
What?
Well, I think they went. They may have gone to the Hawaii.
I thought they were in
base,
Japan.
but they're moving all the time.
Did
for
OP not know
military.
where Japan or Hawaii was?
No. I think they went to the Hawaii base.
So they went to Hawaii
Yeah.
from Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
The other activities, I just stayed with her neighbor. Although it was really awkward, her mother-in-law was really nice to me and did not seem to act like she had any issue with me. She claims that she did not, and that it was my sister's brother-in-law who had the issue with me being there since he brought so many people. He brought his girlfriend, her sister, and her boyfriend, and their little brother. So I would be the one too many, LOL. She seemed honest, as his brother did seem to be the one throwing tantrums when things weren't going his way. He couldn't seem to agree on anything such as where to eat or what to do for the day. I even saw that my sister's mother-in-law and sister-in-law and her fiance were all keeping their distance from him, as they said they couldn't even joke around him as he would get offended by everything. Truthfully, he did seem to get offended by things that weren't even offensive. He got upset that we went to another restaurant, were able to eat and leave, and him and his group were still waiting in line at the restaurant they chose. He got upset when his sister said she was full because supposedly that was super rude to rub it in, but they chose to eat there. It seems we somehow scheduled to leave back to Texas on the same day, so they left the same day I did. I was happy to go home and see my husband. Being with him is a breath of fresh air. I'm sure you're wondering about my sister. She's still trying to work things out with her husband.
Why? Sucks.
Because middle school. They've been dating since middle school, dude. She's locked. She's fully locked in.
She's locked in.
She's got the blinders on. She
Yeah.
can't see anything
But
except
I
this
thought
one
she was-
guy.
I thought she was figuring it out. I thought she was like realizing this wasn't good for her.
I mean, let's figure out why she doesn't want to, why she can't see the light.
Because you know what? It's a case of just not having enough self-respect and
It's probably
confidence.
the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And she's probably been taught
She doesn't
by her.
think she deserves better.
Her husband
Yeah.
has been conditioning her to not have any self-respect.
Yeah. Ugh. So sad.
Bad. At least you're in Japan. They've been going to couples counseling and even went on a couples retreat. She says that he's getting better, but I don't know anything for sure. Sometimes she says that she wants to start over, and other times she wants to work through things with him. I can see how that decision could be difficult. I understand after being with him since they were in middle school, she doesn't know anything else and is afraid that she won't find better. I think she could, and I think everyone in this room also thinks that she
She's
could.
afraid she couldn't find better.
She's locked in.
She's locked in.
She's final answer. That's the mode that she's in right now.
Like OP, like no one deserves to be treated like crap.
No.
And like I feel like you might feel better being alone.
Yeah,
than this-
I
than
would
this guy.
probably feel better being alone instead of being like, hey, I hope you're ready to cook and clean and wipe all our butts, me and my whole family.
Mhm.
Change our diapers, our adult diapers.
Diapies.
I think she could definitely find better, but it's not my decision to make. They're about to finally leave and move back to Texas. They want to start over and get a new home here. My sister says that she thinks it's better to wait to make her decision when they're back, because then all her stuff and her cats will be over here. And if she needs to leave, she can get her own home and move her stuff there. That's actually probably a great
I think that
great
makes
move.
sense. But but also that also feels like just a way to kick the can down, you know?
I mean, if you know you're not going to be in Japan long term and you're going to have to move back to the States anyway.
No,
and then you're going to be
true.
closer to home. It's like you'll be closer to the support system.
It's
tactical.
It totally makes sense.
It's a tactical decision.
But it's
maybe she picked that up from the army. Because that's a tactical decision.
Maybe she's learning her own bite, you know?
Yeah. Plus, the rest of our family is here to support her as well. It would be much harder to leave him when they're still in Hawaii, which makes sense to me, but she also still wants to try to work stuff out. See, I told you there was something weird. They were in Hawaii, Japan, Hawaii, Japan. Someone got confused.
It was because,
or maybe they were trying to be like,
I think they were trying to obfuscate
anonymous.
where they were,
Yeah.
but they decided, I guess that doesn't matter.
I guess, hey, they've been in Hawaii, which also you hit the jackpot on being stationed. This makes sense to me, but she also still wants to try to work stuff out. I know this is a long post. I apologize. As for me and my sister, well, I wear the same rose-tinted glasses for her that she wears for her husband. I let things go. As she's done me wrong in life, she has also done me a lot of right. I for her too. Soon they will come stay with me for a while in my home in the RGV, which I don't know what that means. We will see how that goes. Thank you for everyone for coming along for the ride. I wish you all happy holidays. And that is the end of that story.
You know what? You know what my prediction is? She stays with him.
I think
I don't think she's gonna leave.
I think she's like
hate.
still 50-50 right now. I think once she gets everything back and she's in Texas and she's closer to her family, which is weird that he was like, you need to be used to not being with your family. And now they're moving to Texas, which is, I am assuming, where her family's from.
Maybe not necessarily, but
because that's where she said that the sister didn't ever really leave town or didn't move away from where they grew up.
Yeah.
Went to school close to where they grew up. So I'm assuming that the sister still lives close to home, which would be Texas. And then, but anyway.
Wait, we know that that they were in Texas?
That's where their sister was leaving Hawaii to go back to Texas.
Oh,
that's what they said.
Okay, and then they're
so I assume the whole thing. She still lives closer to home in the family. So once she gets closer to her family,
she'll have her support.
I think she'll be more likely to make that decision of like, I need to get this guy out of my life.
Because it's much harder to leave someone when you have like it's your whole life is attached to them. You know,
right? Yeah, it's like I go where he goes,
and that's the hard
here,
thing about being a military wife is it's like you have to give up your whole life to follow this person wherever they go.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, and you can't create your own like interests because you're just it's like you're subservient to this person.
Yeah, and if you try to establish like roots wherever you are, it's like you're gonna have to pull them up because you're going somewhere else in like 3 or 4 years.
Literally, all you have is this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough.
And you have to deal with the stress of, is this person gonna get deployed and go to war and then maybe never come back?
Yeah,
like that's all. It's all hard.
Yeah,
it's all very difficult,
but might be good in this situation.
But that is nice. Nice.
No, I'm not.
That's the end of this story.
Anyone's death.
My fiance's sister-in-law is trying to steal him back, so I insisted we cut her off. That's a complicated relationship there. I, 31 female, asked my fiance, 41 male, to limit his conversations with his sister-in-law, 38 female, if he can't cut off all communications with her. His sister-in-law, 39 female, has been with his brother, 38 male, for 15 years now. They're not married, but they have 4 kids together, which I know is a sore spot for her. Why is he not locking her down?
She probably is looking for another brother.
By the way, this comes from Deleted on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, the sister-in-law, who I'll call Amy, was actually dating my fiance 16 years ago before she left him for his brother. You backed the wrong brother there, man. Yikes, because one person's getting locked down and one person is not locked down. Big reason the family isn't a fan of her, amongst the fact that she was unfaithful to the brother a few times.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't seem like she's got any loyalty.
She doesn't.
Ever since I started dating my fiance 3 to 4 years ago, I can tell Amy has been jealous and just plain rude. I'm not trying to be a braggart, but I started dating my partner when I was 28. I'm fit. I'm good looking. Amy was very good looking 15 years ago from the photos I've seen, but she looks like a completely different person now. Initially, I thought she was jealous of me because she was still harboring feelings for my partner, or maybe was jealous that he was seriously dating someone that their family really liked. And since I came along, Amy started calling my partner way too much. Usually when we were hanging out, she was calling him about mundane things or to complain about his brother, which I feel is a boundary issue.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. They were together and she seems like she still has feelings for the brother. She's basically calling her ex to complain about her man, who is his brother, right when he's spending time with his new girlfriend. It all felt like games to me. Things got a lot worse when we got engaged and later found out we were expecting.
Oh, wow.
Congrats. Amy was calling my partner more than ever, complaining about the brother and saying weird things like, I wish I could change my decisions in the past. but I guess I can't. And we all freaking know what that means. We all freaking know what that means, Amy. But you can't change it because you're not a freaking time traveler and you just got to deal with it.
That's right.
Then she ends up announcing she's also expecting 4 months after our own announcement. Did she just get busy like immediately?
She's like, I have to be center of attention now.
Since that happened, she's been very competitive for attention.
Called it.
For example, she invited my partner to her ultrasound on our due date.
What?
I hate this one. Everyone thought that was so inappropriate and weird. She never invited him to any other ultrasounds. Why this one? Because she wants to steal him away. Then on a day we were celebrating our engagement with their father, she showed up out of breath to the celebration. She lives next door to the dad and tried to tell everyone they needed to attend her daughter's soccer game that was happening the next day, and we were rude for not inviting her to our celebration and not supporting her daughter's soccer game.
This is a crab in a bucket.
I hate her. Trying to pull everyone back into the bucket. Last night, we were supposed to check out wedding venues, and Amy goes, no, my daughter's having an open house ceremony at her school, and I need you there. To my partner.
Oh, wow. What about to the brother?
Maybe talk to your husband? Have we thought about that? That was the final straw. I had a long convo with my fiance and said she needs to cut the crap. All these weird events are for moms and dads, and she does not need her soon-to-be married brother-in-law at these events. What is she playing at? I straight up asked him if he thought she had feelings for him. He goes, I don't think she wants to date me. I think she just doesn't want me to be happy with anyone else because she's unhappy, which I think is an astute observation. And she's jealous that my family obviously likes you better than they like her, so she does try to steal the spotlight.
She's not doing a great job at it.
No one cares about her. She's like, please, my daughter's soccer game. And they're like, no.
And that poor daughter is now being used for her attention.
She's just trying to have a soccer game, man.
Yeah, she's just trying to go to open house.
So I said that's exactly why I think they should limit conversation, because I do not trust a person like that.
I think that's really smart.
Yeah, just to keep her out of her life. I don't think the husband's going to do anything, but I think she's just a bad juju, bad energy.
And cutting her off is getting away from that entertaining it in a way. Like if she's calling you and you pick it up, you're entertaining it.
You're letting her get away with that behavior. My partner responded with, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that she's going to get me to dump you for her after she's been with my brother for 15 years and has 4 of his kids? I'd never do that.
Dude, there was a way better response you could have had to that.
So many other options that you could have went with.
But you went with that one.
That was the worst one. You should have said, yeah, you're totally right. She is butting into a relationship and I'll limit conversation with her.
Because it seems like he is on her side. He just said it like he wasn't.
Yeah, you said it like he was against OP. I trust my partner, but I feel like he's invalidating my feelings here. I'm not saying cut off total communication. I'm asking him to limit it. Or at the very least, to stop considering attending events like ultrasounds and doctor appointments. You should not be considering going to those.
Instead of picking up every phone call every day, just pick up once a week, maybe.
Just cut it down. Be very direct and say, nope, not going, instead of telling them he will think about it. I feel that's very personal and inappropriate. Things were tense this morning, and I can tell it was still on his mind. I think he feels I'm overreacting, and I feel he is underreacting. But am I the a-hole for asking him to limit conversation? And there is an update.
No, absolutely not. This is his ex.
Yes.
And in any other context,
it would be really weird and inappropriate for her to pull this behavior.
Yeah, but she is kind of family, but kind of far family.
No, she's family. She's close enough that she's able to use that as an excuse, but she's far enough that she shouldn't be acting this way.
Yeah, cut off contact.
Cut off contact. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he understands the situation here.
And it's probably so minor of a thing in his mind.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care about her.
It's like, I don't care if she calls me. I don't really care.
Yeah, I feel like that's the attitude. It's like, I'm not going to cheat, so it doesn't matter.
And he's probably trying to be a good uncle because it seems like sister-in-law is always using the kids as an excuse.
So true. But there is an update. A lot of people are asking whether any of her kids are my partners, and don't worry, my mother has asked the same thing when I told her what's happening.
Oh my gosh.
The sister-in-law has had several affairs on the brother, which prompted the brother to request paternity tests on all 4. The first kid isn't his. She's already 14 years old, though. It turned out to be her ex. The other 3 are his.
Okay, all right.
Whew. She actually doesn't know that he has done paternity tests on the other 3. It was requested by their wealthy father, who absolutely doesn't trust her. It's a big reason the brother won't marry her either. Then why is he still with her? Like, for the kids? I don't understand. The other thing is she is an extreme narcissist. So she also invites the father-in-law to the same things my partner gets invited to because she believes she will get his inheritance money.
Dude, she's getting 2 birds with 1 stone, the man and the money.
She invited him to watch her give birth, to the ultrasounds, to her doctor's appointments, named her 4th kid after him, and for his birthday took selfies of herself, framed them, and gave them to the father-in-law. His wife threw them out and said nothing. But I'm just going to throw out that you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap her profile. And there's a little bit left to the story, but
She's working hard here. I like the effort. I like the hustle. Just strategically, could maybe go about it a little bit differently.
maybe a little bit different. Maybe if we weren't an awful person, we could get the money and, stop doing that. Stop doing that. I really don't like it. I don't like this behavior. It's weird that you framed a picture of yourself for your father-in-law. I don't think I've ever thought to give a picture of me, a selfie of me, to anyone.
Except for maybe like your significant other.
Yeah, but I don't think I would ever frame one of those. You would frame a picture of yourself?
Probably.
Unless it's your significant other, I don't think I would ever. Maybe my parents, but that's
has to be like a good one.
Yeah, like a student pic or something. The other thing is she is severely obese, which I feel my partner focuses on too much. But like I said, it's not about her physical appearance or spicy sleep. It's the fact that she wants to make us unhappy, that I don't want her around us. Like, why? But I had a talk with him last night, and he actually gave her my number and advised her to text me if there's ever any family events and she can't reach him, and then blocked her.
Nice.
That's how we do it. Because I mentioned what someone else said, that he might subconsciously like the attention he gets, knowing she's severely unhappy with his brother. But he's too old to play those games. And that is the end of that story. A happy ending, I guess. Nice.
That was solid. He kind of came around to it.
Figured it out. We love that.
We do love that. And good luck with your wedding.
You're a winner, and you've kept him, and you've won him, and your sister-in-law sucks. And that's the end of that. My sister-in-law got jealous of my wedding, so she scheduled hers 2 weeks after mine. Why would you do that? At that point, just schedule it on the same day. Long story short, my fiance, 35 male, and I, 30 female, got engaged last December. Congrats. I'm super close with his family, so we were excited to tell them our news in person just a few hours after getting engaged. They were all thrilled, with the notable exception of his younger sister, 29 female. By the way, this comes from So Unexpected on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So she and I have always been pretty close, so I was surprised to see her sulking around and looking miserable as we celebrated with the family. She's jealous. Fiance and I chalked it up to a bit of jealousy based on interactions he's had with her before and tried to put it back of mind. We went on to book our wedding venue in January and shared the date out with our family. In February, I asked her and my fiance's brother's wife to be 2 of my bridesmaids. The latter was over the moon, while his sister said, "Oh, cool," and didn't really show any signs of happiness. Again, tried to ignore, but was still starting to sting a bit. What's up her butt? Why is she being all moody? Not a wedding ring, but she wishes. Then we get into April. We moved into a new house and had her and her on and off boyfriend over. Lovely time. Things felt normal. A week later, she sends us a message saying that we might find the news overwhelming, but she and her boyfriend have booked a wedding venue for 2 weeks after our wedding. What? And they were on and off. Now they're getting married and they have a date. Oh my God, that's crazy. We were floored because that's generally pretty close in timing for an immediate family wedding. They weren't engaged yet. And the big kicker, we are taking a 3-week honeymoon, so we wouldn't be able to attend her wedding. She apparently came across a venue she liked, and that was the only Saturday they had during summer of 2023. And she was super keen to get married as soon as possible and start a family because being a mom is her life goal. What's the on and off boyfriend saying in all of this? He's like, yeah, I'll be there summer, but I will be off again in August, so we got to get this over quick. We were pretty gutted and angry, to say the least. We let her know that we were hurt by the decision for a variety of reasons, including the fact that we found out she had been planning this when we had her over and she didn't tell us.
She also told everyone else in the family before telling us. We told her our honeymoon was already planned and that we wished she had talked to us first so we could have told her that we wouldn't be in the country those days. She was hurt that we wouldn't be going to her wedding, and somehow she was offended that we were hurt by her action.
But girl, you knew that they were going on a honeymoon.
Yeah, like, come on.
You're not even engaged.
It's crazy. We ended up having a candid conversation about the situation, and I told her that this was especially hurtful after the lack of enthusiasm she had been showing for our engagement. And it felt like she wasn't happy for us and not being respectful of our wedding. She admitted that she had been super bitter and jealous at our news, saying it was because she felt like we snuck our engagement in just before the holidays last year instead of getting engaged at the beginning of the December like my fiance originally planned. Why would that matter?
Why?
Why would that matter to you? It's like a couple weeks later. It was planned at the beginning of the December.
Yeah.
It was done by the end of December. But like, what does a 2-week difference make? Our engagement was delayed by 2 weeks because I was sick at the beginning of the month. Fiance had confirmed with her boyfriend that he wasn't planning to propose around that time. He had 0 plans. So we were just baffled that she's trying to somehow spin this on us. They got engaged about a week after all of this happened. A bit of silence from both sides for a few months, and then she asked me to be one of her bridesmaids. They got engaged a week after this conversation. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And also she's asking you to be one of the bridesmaids. We've already established they're going to be on the honeymoon.
Yeah, like she's literally not going to be there.
She can't be there. You're being petty. And then you're going to be like, oh, you can't be at my wedding? Well, I can't be at your wedding.
Yeah, just watch her not come to the wedding. And she asked me to be one of her bridesmaids, knowing that I couldn't be there. She awkwardly asked in front of their mom, and I felt very put on the spot, so I just kind of forced a smile. Since then, at family gatherings, she's been ignoring us. She's literally turning her body away from us for hours and not looking at us. She no longer reacts to our social media posts, and she doesn't reply to messages, even in group chats. The other week, we had our whole wedding party over for a get-to-know-you party. She came and was being somewhat normal for the first couple hours and talking to people, not us, but whatever. But I think she had a bit too much to drink and pulled the other sister-in-law bridesmaid away from the party to chat. She ended up bawling at her about how she's so tired of being seen as the bad one.
Then stop doing bad things.
It's that easy. That the family seems to be upset with her and that we didn't arrive early to a wedding event that she told us we were fine to not be early for. Sister-in-law told her that she's trying to stay out of it and be neutral and feels like she can't win in the situation. Sister then left without saying goodbye, and then the following morning, she left the family group chat without a word. She's known for having big crying blow-ups, sober and not, so her siblings weren't surprised by any of this. The official family stance has been that they're not taking sides, but we've definitely noticed that everyone seems to be sympathetic to us and disappointed in her, but they don't want to hurt her feelings. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like they know how dramatic she is, so they know that the situation probably isn't that big of a deal. My fiance says his family has always handled her with kid gloves as the baby of the family and never says no to her, always agrees with her when she complains about other people being mean to her, and generally enables some fairly self-centered behavior.
If you don't put a stop to it and like tell her, hey, you need to stop behaving like a child, then she's going to keep doing it.
He's very hurt by her behavior, but not surprised, and he wants her out of our wedding party. I think that's fair. Yeah. I wanted to take her out of the party after she first told us, but his mom made me feel bad about it and said I'd be tearing the family apart. Wow. Okay.
Always tearing the family apart.
We know where the drama comes from.
Yeah, definitely her.
Well, I kept her in the party, and it seems pretty torn up anyway. I'm nervous about having her at future events like the bachelorette party, showers, and the actual wedding because it's clear she's an implosion risk and she's not even looking me in the face and talking to me. By the way, what's never a risk is us going live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. You can join us live. Just tap our profile.
I mean, you could invite her to the wedding, but definitely don't, she's not going to be a bridesmaid. Yeah. Don't do that. That's too risky.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'd be nervous to have her out at the wedding. I wouldn't kick her out because, it's family. Yeah. But I would, keep an eye on her to make sure that she doesn't do any, crazy dramatic stuff because she seems like the type. There is more to the story. I am just so exhausted by this whole situation, and I want to be able to celebrate with people who are happy for us and are respectful of us, and I'm not getting that from her right now. I don't think I should be her bridesmaid because I can't be supportive of her right now after she's treated us like this. And I won't even be there anyway. I'm so done with her acting like a victim or that we've done something wrong when all of this stems from her decisions. I don't want to tiptoe around the situation anymore and just want to move on and enjoy this time in our lives. Cannot believe this girl is seriously playing the victim now after all of this. And that is the end of the story. Oh my goodness.
She sucks.
Yeah, that one conversation at the getting to know you party where she was like crying about it. It's like, I'm just seeing it's the bad one. And then they did this when it's like not even true. It's like, girl,
Making things up so that she looks good. Everyone knows that she's the bad one. Everyone's already taken a side.
right. It's like, come on, just own up to what you're doing. It's really not that big of a deal. Like, just calm down.
Calm down. But that is the end of that story. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.